SportsCenter.
Good morning, Madison, and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson. SportsCenter brought to you by Ho Chunk Gaming Madison, home of smoke-free slots and the highest payout percentage in the area. Ho Chunk Gaming Madison. More spins, more wins, more fun. The Milwaukee Brewers unable to come away with the sweep of the Chicago Cubs yesterday afternoon at American Family Field. 10-3 the final. The Cubs defeat the Brewers in the finale of the three-game set, and the final time the two teams will play, at least in the regular season, at American Family Field in 2025. The Brewers now 64-44. That is 20 games over 500. That is still the best record in baseball. In a check of the NL Central standings, the Brewers one game up on the Cubs for first place in the division. It appears to be a two-horse race with the Reds in third place at 7.5 back of the Brewers. The Crew is off today. It's MLB trade deadline day, 5 p.m. Central Time this afternoon. The MLB trade deadline overnight. One of the names linked to the Brewers, Eugenio Suarez of the Arizona Diamondbacks, according to ESPN's Jeff Hafley, on his way to the Seattle Mariners. We'll see if the Brewers do anything before 5 o'clock this afternoon. Keep it locked right here all day for the latest. Madison's home of the Brewers, 100.5 ESPN. Wilde and Tausch starts right now.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com. Three-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, Jason Wilde.
There aren't any Jasons 12 and under. That's a dead name.
Packers Hall of Famer, Mark Tauscher.
How many kids do you hear, hey, Marky, it might be as almost to the point of Ruth.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio.
You love that name so much, you don't even go by it.
On 100.5 ESPN.
If you call me Mark, I like my name. I like my name a lot.
The ESPN Wisconsin app.
Wilde and Tausch.
And ESPN Madison on YouTube.
It's Wilde and Tausch, isn't it?
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It is the Thursday edition. The Tausch's summer sabbatical rolls on, and so does our cavalcade of outstanding, ausgezeichnet, ja, cousin subs of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better edition. The Ball King edition. If you know me, you know that what came up yesterday with Jeff Hafley is going to be a story with me, and I'm very, very, very interested in pursuing it edition. And I want to talk about Olivia Newton-John. Let's get physical edition of Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam. ESPNWisconsin.com, the ESPN app, your Alexa smart speaker, streaming live video, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. And of course, everything you could want, everything you need on the all-new, all-redesigned, all-free ESPN Wisconsin app, which you can find in both the Apple and Android app stores. I'm Jason Wilde in Green Bay. Jesse Nelson, who was in attendance, which would explain why things went poorly for the Brewers.
It's just not fair.
Did they win or did they lose?
They lost bad. They lost bad.
Had they won a lot of games while you were not in attendance, and then when you showed up, things went poorly?
I mean, I'm 2-2 on the season. It's not like I'm awful.
Seems like they've got a better winning percentage when you're not there.
I suppose. 20 games over. Yeah, you're right.
I believe this argument is over. Jesse Nelson is in the Everlight Solar ESPN Madison studios. And from somewhere, perhaps on the Mizzou campus, perhaps Mizzou campus adjacent, not from the set of Wipeout or SportsCenter, because I wouldn't say he's all ours, but he's mostly ours now. A legend, not in his own mind, a legit legend. It is our friend John Anderson on Wilde and Tausch as our cousin sub of the day. John, good morning. How are you?
I want to know who else has been in the cavalcade of stars. Like, I want to know who else is on this edition of Love Boat that I should know, when they bring out the big names. Who else am I joining here? Has Gabe Kaplan yet hosted the show?
He has not. Welcome back, Cotter. Still one of my favorites, though. Couldn't get Travolta either. I know Michael J. Fox at one point was on the Love Boat for an episode. You never knew who was going to show up on the Love Boat, and you never know who's going to show up on Wilde and Tausch. So we've had Brian Bulaga twice, two-time cousin sub of the day. We had Alex Strofe once. We apparently had some trouble booking someone of greater renown.
That's me.
We had Joe Thomas, Pro Football Hall of Famer.
Yep.
And I don't know if you've heard, but he's got Hall of Fame beef, which we did a bit of an infomercial for while Jesse was munching away on some
It was good. Best beef I've ever had.
And now we've got you. And tomorrow we've got a special event at Camp Randall, so we don't have anyone. We've got Jim, Matt, and Molly doing their show.
Olympic gold medalist. Olympic gold medalist is in the criteria.
He's not in the Tausch seat. He is on his own show in a different time slot, and I will be joining as a guest on their show in our time slot. So be sure to tune in for Jim, Matt, and Molly tomorrow. But
you did forget Brad Nortman, who played in a Super Bowl. Let's be nice to Brad. You forgot about Brad.
That's right. We had Brad Nortman. Punters. Doesn't count. This is what happens to punters. Yeah.
Fiegels once told me it was so great. Fiegels, years ago, I was covering the Cardinals on in Phoenix, and Joe Nedney, their kicker, ran down on a kickoff, and he tore an ACL. And Fiegels was like, I tell these people all the time, if you are a kicker punter, don't get involved in the football game. And I think that is all you ever need to know about those two guys, that position. Don't get involved in the football game.
I apologize publicly to Brad Nortman, nevertheless, and I also did not have Jeff Fiegels once told me on my bingo card for today's show. That's the beauty of having John Anderson as our cousin sub of the day. So tell me, is that the humble Anderson abode in Columbia, Missouri? Is it I see there's some sort of campus print behind you, maybe? I'm not.
So that is my humble abode. No, what that is, if I can tip up, that's actually from when I was 40 and a bunch of us went and played golf at Whistling Strait. So that's the meadow course right there. That's hole number 15 along the hole card, where I threw a nifty little 85 at the field that day.
Oh, well done. And all those signatures are your buddies, or you were playing with like Tiger Woods and Mark Calcavecchia or what?
No, in fact, what's really funny is I look at those and I got to decipher who they are because they sign their real names, but that's not what anybody calls them, right? Like there's Roger Gossie's the Dodge, Steve Kiley is Bedtime, J.P. Miller's the Pope, Dave Hunzacker's the Lucky Dog. So yeah, it's signed to their names, but that's not what anybody calls them. And then adjacent one over here is a similar print and picture and scorecard of the Straits course that we played. And so there you go. That's my little bit of Wisconsin here in this room.
And as a Green Bay guy, I am curious about a couple things about you living in Missouri, but I have a more important question. That is, I know Homer's show is only an hour, so there's not enough time for this. At some point during our 3-hour window, will you turn around and play the piano behind you?
No, that you have to be my wife or my son to play that. So it does get use. It's not, he's here. We just moved him back. He graduated with his master's degree in journalism. He's trying to get a job. So right now, like any other kid, he's just asleep, and hopefully he'll be up before noon. If so, we'll see if he'll entertain us with something.
Respect. Nothing but respect for him for that. All right. Jesse, we cannot go any further into this show. I'm sorry. We got a lot we want to get to. I know John, having been born and bred here in Green Bay, wants to get to Packers. We all want to get to Packers, but I wasn't trying to be mean. But right. They had won the first two games of the series with the Cubs. You decide to go down there, and not only do you decide to go down there, you decide to go down there with a capital J journalism. I mean, not a master's degree like John's son, but journalism, capital J, and go to the post-game press conference with Pat Murphy. And they get, what was the final yesterday? 9-3, 10-3?
10-3. A tack went on at the end. Yeah, 10-3. Tough day at the park.
Tough day to be jokey Jesse Nelson. You know, I thought maybe you'd have some fun with Pat Murphy, but when you get beat 10-3, not exactly ideal accommodations for such a thing. So tell us your story, capital J Jesse.
I was very excited to go to the game yesterday, especially because I had gone for the first time in 9 years. I had gone a few weeks ago when they hosted the Dodgers as a capital J journalist, and went down to the press conference, and I was a little nervous. Didn't know how to time up the question. There were only a handful of reporters there a few weeks ago. I didn't realize we were going to be done after 4 minutes, and so I did not get a question in, and Tausch got after me for not getting a question in a couple of weeks ago. So I had a few questions ready to go yesterday. I was brainstorming on my drive down as the game played out. Okay, if they win, I'm going to ask them this. If they lose, I'm going to ask them this. And then we walked into the media auditorium where he holds the post-game press conference. And last time there were like 6 reporters there. Yesterday there were like 20. Everybody was there yesterday. All the TV people, all the radio people, all the newspaper people, all the national people. There were a lot of people there. And he did an 11-minute press conference. And I was ready to jump in and give a couple of questions. And then some of the regulars hopped in and took them from me. And it was the same question, which justifies good preparation by me. Had the right questions ready to ask. But I did not ask Pat Murphy a question yesterday either. I am 0 for 2 as a capital J journalist in post-game press conferences with the Brewers manager.
So, and I will defer to the professor momentarily, but I do have one question, and that is this. The cardinal sins, the 3 mortal sins that quarterbacks can commit, according to Tom Clements, which is ingrained in Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love and Sean Clifford's minds. No blind throws, no predetermined throws, and no late throws over the middle. You sound like you had predetermined questions even before the game had begun. So my question now becomes, what were they? And are you not nimble enough to have come up with something on the spot? Do we need to work, do we need to do some drill work here?
Yeah, here's, and I'm glad I have 2 esteemed journalists to be able to, get after me for this. So, I don't go to the Brewers game every day. I don't go to Seattle like the beat writers do all the time. So I don't have the same kind of relationship with Pat Murphy. And I'm also not there to ask.
And you called for his job.
I did not call for his job on the cribbage board giveaway day when they were in 4th place and awful and couldn't score a run. I said, do we have to start to think about when to have a conversation? I never called for his job. Had they won, I was going to ask him about was there a turning point in the season, and I thought that would have been a appropriate question given how I take credit for their hot streak starting the day after I asked that question at Pablo's birthday bash. So when I come to a press conference, one of the questions I want to ask, it's not about, okay, Freddie Peralta didn't look like his normal self yesterday, huh, Pat? I'm not going to ask about what'd you think with 2 on in the 4th inning and you weren't able to push a run across. Seemed like the turning point. Like, I'm not going to ask that question. That's for the regulars. I want to ask something that's a little more big picture. So I wanted to ask him about the trade deadline and what his plans are for today. The Brewers have an off day before flying to Washington, D.C. later today. And someone else did ask him, what's your plans for today? He gave a great answer. He's hanging out with his kids. He's got scheduled time. He's working with one of his kids for 2 hours and doing some baseball drills, and then he's just doing some daddy time with the other kids for a couple hours, coming to the stadium for a little bit. Then he said hopping on the bird, which I thought was a very Pat Murphy way to say taking the plane to D.C. So he's got that going on. So it was a fun glimpse into the life of Pat Murphy, and I thought that would be Wildy would be proud of my question had I asked that of him yesterday.
But you didn't.
What I was actually going to ask him was, and inspired by you, the way I was going to ask this was,
oh dear, this is going to be really long.
Hey Pat, yeah, a little bit, not as long as yours, but kinda. I learned from the best. Hey Pat, or Murph. I haven't decided if we're on Murph terms yet. Hey Murph. Few years back, Mike McCarthy, as the head coach of the Packers, was asked about the trade deadline in Green Bay, and he joked, saying, "Oh, is that this week? I assume you're a little more in tune with what's going on, but what are your plans for trade deadline day tomorrow with an off day?" And I thought that might have been a fun question to ask him. It would have been McCarthy related. I thought you would have enjoyed that. No, you're shaking your head. Oh, jeez.
I just don't know if he like, that's a great reference. It's one of my favorite moments. Like we all were like, oh my God, Mike McCarthy doesn't know when the trade deadline is. And then he was like, that's what it's like around here for the trade deadline. It was his delivery. Like, I know John Anderson knows comedy, especially after doing all those shows with Henson for a while on Wipeout. The delivery was outstanding. Just outstanding. I don't know if that's an old reference now, and I don't know if Pat Murphy's Packers plugged in enough to really get the joke. I think it would have been a risky play. So tell Todd Rosiak or whoever asked for you, thank them for their service to save you from that.
They covered that one. Was going to ask him about, did he have a message to the team regarding the trade deadline? Because today was, today was the last day that likely, if there was a trade that happens before the deadline, today is the last day everyone's all going to be together. Is anyone nervous? What's your message to the team? Someone did ask him about that, and he said, we've talked about it. Everyone's prepared for it. Many of these guys have been through it. We just did it with Eric Haas a couple of days ago, the backup catcher. They're all prepared for, anything can happen at the trade deadline. Great answer, great perspective on what it's like in the locker room. I thought that was really good. Again, someone else asked it. One of the reasons I did not ask a question is because I did not ask a question yesterday does not mean the manager and I did not interact once again.
Whoa. Talk about burying the lead. All right, let's look. I don't want you to have to rush this story. Wait a minute. Am I going to be disappointed?
Yeah, we should. Let's just do it now.
No. So you're already telling me I'm going to be disappointed. It does not merit Tausch telling. Well, you know what? We're going to have Tausch tell us about Pella anyway, and then we'll hear it because I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that
your call, not mine.
That the interaction was not going to be anticlimactic, but I have a feeling it might be. So in the interim, let's hear from Tausch. Tell us about Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. So then we can hear about Jesse's interaction with Murph at yesterday's Brewers game, and then get into the Packers, who returned to the practice field today after the players had an off day yesterday. They will be back on Ray Nitschke Field a little bit later this morning. We'll get to that with John Anderson as our cousin sub of the day. But first, here's Tausch to tell us about Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. For windows with the strongest resilience, you need the Pella Experience. The Pella Experience Center lets you see, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of windows and door options from 7 different Pella lines, all side by side. Stop by soon, because if you order by July 31st, you can get 0 interest for up to 5 years. Certain restrictions do apply. Visit the Pella Experience Center in Brookfield or schedule your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
ESPN Madison is proud to partner with Mentoring Positives for our 3rd annual ESPN Madison Open. Mentoring Positives is a nonprofit based right here in Madison and is dedicated to uplifting youth and families through mentoring, athletics, and youth entrepreneurship. As a trusted presence in the community, Mentoring Positives has been helping young people build confidence, leadership, and purpose for 20 years. They're changing lives right here in our community. Visit mentoringpositives.org to make your impact today. That's mentoringpositives.org.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you.
Fans, here is the Quick Trip to the Ballpark ticket offer. Spend $200 at participating Quick Trip locations and get a free Terrace Reserve ticket to a 2025 Milwaukee Brewers home game. Check brewers.com/quicktrip for more details.
Join UW Credit Union at uwcu.org, insured by NCUA.
It's always a beautiful experience coming out to the ballpark. Many fans prep in the parking lot amongst our legendary tailgaters. When you're ready for new windows and doors, prep for those at the Pella Experience Center in Brookfield. See, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of window and door options from different Pella lines side by side. And if you order by July 31st, get 0% interest for up to 5 years on Blue Mountain Road, or visit PellaWI.com today.
Take your game to the next level with Vortex Golf. This employee-owned brand out of Wisconsin brings you premium rangefinders like the Blade, Blade Slope, and the Anarch, packed with features like image stabilization, pin spotter mode, and rock-solid accuracy. Backed by a legendary no-questions-asked VIP lifetime warranty and unmatched customer service, Vortex has you covered. Ready to upgrade your gear? Visit maplehillgolf.com and search Vortex to see the full lineup. Vortex Golf, you can bet on it.
Get ready to unleash the dragon at Hard Rock Casino Rockford. Introducing the region's very first $1 million Dragon Link slot game. Feel the thrill, chase the excitement, and win big. With jackpots soaring to $1 million, your chance to hit it big is here. Come experience the ultimate gaming adventure. Visit Hard Rock Casino Rockford today and play the $1 million Dragon Link slot game. Your legendary win awaits. Hard Rock Casino Rockford. Let's hard rock.
If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Chevy trucks have you covered when the road takes you from smooth sailing to Chevy Colorado will eat up some of the toughest terrains with 5 available drive modes. And Silverado and Silverado HD have the muscle to take you out for some serious with multiple engine options and impressive towing. While Silverado EV is the perfect combo of performance and capability, making it a snap to hitch up this electric truck and hit the road. Wherever the road leads, Chevy trucks are right there with you. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Bruner Realty and ESPN Madison have teamed up again for the 5th annual Putts for Pups golf outing benefiting the Dane County Humane Society. Join us for a day of golf at Blackhawk Country Club on September 19th. Since it started in 2021, Putts for Pups has raised over $120,000 for the Dane County Humane Society. Donate or find out how you can get involved at putsforpups.com. Putts for Pups is proudly sponsored by Badgerland Exteriors, Alts Operations, Zimbrick Automotive, and Vortex Optics.
First of all, I love bringing this to the public.
The Rich Eisen Show.
NFC North, top to bottom. You could say this is the best this division has ever been.
Coming September 2nd on ESPN Radio, ESPN Plus, and on Disney Plus.
Daddy Jackson time starts at 10 on
10 to noon. And then noon to 2 is Austie Daddy. And then I drop them off, and then I come in here, fiddle putt around, and then jump on the bird, go to Washington, make calls, catch up on all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
That, I'm sure the answer would have been even better had Jesse asked it. That is manager Pat Murphy, or as Jesse calls him now, Murph, because they're so close.
We're tight.
As the Brewers get ready to take on the Nationals tomorrow, as they have the day off and they travel to our nation's capital, where all kinds of great things are occurring these days. I'm curious, Jesse, if you thought that was a good answer, then do you think that your question would have gotten an even better answer? Are you that confident?
I think it would have got the same answer. I don't know if I'd say it would have got a better answer. That's what we were going to get for if we asked what are his plans on trade deadline day, which, again, it's a glimpse into the manager's life. That's what makes Pat Murphy Pat Murphy. That's why we love him, right?
Murph. Yeah, Murph. So you interacted with him, though, at some juncture.
I did. So, John, you weren't here the last time we did this.
Lucky you.
So I learned this the Monday night that the Dodgers were in town. When you go to Pat Murphy's press conference, he always, before he starts the official press conference, he looks around the room and he asks anyone he doesn't see regularly to introduce themselves, which I've never seen any other coach of any kind do, and I love that. It's a little nerve-wracking when you don't expect it and you're on the spot to do it. So there's interns.
Why is that? Do you not remember who you are, or what makes that like?
No, it's just like we're here for the press conference. Sometimes you have like interns and some of the people who aren't there all the time. You just kind of sit back and you record the audio, and you're there to gather it, but you're not prepared to jump in and be part of the mix like the regulars are. And so when he starts it by having all the irregulars introduce themselves, it's a little nerve-wracking.
Okay.
So even though it was a full house yesterday, he walked in, pretty full house here. He did still look around to see if there were any newbies. And dead eye contact with me, 3 rows up.
But I thought you called him Murph. Come on.
Without further ado, I had just started the recording, I didn't think he was going to do this with how many people were there yesterday. I thought we were not going to do this part of it, but no, we did. And here we go.
No interns? None. Do I know everybody? Everybody needs to introduce themselves? Anybody want to introduce themselves just because they haven't been here in a while and don't really follow us till now? Kind of front runners? Anybody?
I mean, I was here a few weeks ago with Jesse Nelson, ESPN Wisconsin. Good to see you, Pat.
Anyone else? Just show up like once every... Nobody else wants to... Go ahead.
Eric from Green Bay.
Eric's been here just about every day, but he just...
Yeah.
So. All right, guys, what do we got?
I got to give you credit. You delivered. It's all Pat. It's all Murph that did the heavy lifting.
Yeah, front runner.
But you delivered. You're a front runner
member. And the only one, because the other guy, he's like the camera guy in the back, who apparently says that every time he does that. So, yeah, I was the only one in this crowded room of all the Milwaukee and even some of the other media members. The only one who fessed up to being a front runner who was only there because it was a big game yesterday. And Murph called me out right before the press conference started for it.
John Anderson, the professor, your thoughts?
Well, I had some empathy early when I get it when somebody bogarts your question. That happens. We don't all have Wilde type access where we then after the press conference sidle over to the side and get talk for 5 minutes on our own. So. But listen, I applaud you for standing up there in the end. I would have leveraged that since you were there. I would have said, hey, since I'm here and I've introduced myself, I would have blurted out the question and gone right from there. When he said, that's your opportunity is right there. You've literally just announced your presence with authority like Nuke LaLoosh then you should have just bang right into the question. That's the only other thing. Otherwise, that's good of you to step up right there.
I thought someone else in the room would introduce themselves and say, yeah, we're not here all the time. No one else did it. I was the only one in the entire room who said, yeah, I'm not here all the time. Hi. Hey, Pat. Nice to see you.
Murph. And then I would have started with Murph.
And Jesse's.
So that is now 2 consecutive, because last time he asked if he knew me, and it seemed like there were some undertones, like he may have gotten wind that I'm the one who called for his job.
No,
according to
that
Tausch
was
back in
that
May.
that was a guilty conscience.
The more I listen to it, the more it sounds like he knew who I was. And now this happens yesterday. I don't know if I'm going to go back the rest of the season. I don't know. I'm a little scared.
They may not lose again.
This guy comes in. He succeeds Council, leads them to the division title by 10 games to win again. But you already were ready to have the discussion early this season that maybe he wasn't the right guy. Because, how many times have you called for LaFleur's job? Because the way you write this, LaFleur should be out. I mean, I had no idea how hot the seat is on Matt LaFleur with your sort of the way you view coaches and managers.
Well, okay, first of all, clearly I was wrong and too early on the Pat Murphy question. I think we all know that, but it's helped us over the last 2.5 months, and it's what propelled the Brewers on this massive winning streak. Everyone's welcome. Thankfully, John, I don't have to ask that question because Tausch has been here saying that this season is a massive season for Matt LaFleur because he hasn't had the postseason success except for that one game. Since Jordan Love, since Aaron Rodgers left, it hasn't been as solid. 7 seed. Jason said this a couple of times. If the playoffs didn't expand a couple of years ago, the Packers wouldn't even be in the playoffs each of the last 3 years. So this is a massive season for Matt LaFleur. He's obviously had a lot of success in the regular season. I think he's navigated. They exceeded expectations 2 years ago. They need to get better this year, and they need to perform better and hopefully perform better in the postseason. Otherwise, I think there will be questions after the season concludes.
Yeah, I'm saying, though, under your the way you treated Murph, we should have been asking this 3 years ago. The first time he didn't make the playoffs, the one season to make the playoffs. So I'm surprised you didn't have him out. He should, selling hot dogs.
Yeah.
Selling hot dogs.
You know what? That's fair. I deserve all this.
You deserve most of it. We've gotten after you pretty good. Not all of it. We've probably gone a bridge too far, but it's been fun, and I am glad, despite your chicken inability to ask a question, you did get an interaction. We do have the audio, and it was pretty glorious. I'm not going to lie. So I really enjoyed that. What I also enjoy is our great partnership with Steinhafels. What I did not enjoy was a great night's sleep last night. Had nothing to do with my mattress from Steinhafels. Had to do with a little bit of discord among the pets at 3 o'clock in the morning that woke me up. There arose such a clatter that I got up, and then I had a little bit of trouble getting back to sleep, but I eventually did, and that's because I have a great Steinhafels Tempur-Pedic mattress, and if you're looking for your best night's sleep, you can get it too, and maybe your dogs won't get into a rumble in the process. Tempur-Pedic's advanced pressure-relieving technology helps make those everyday aches and pains a thing of the past. And right now, Queen hybrid models start at just $52 a month with Steinhafels 60-month financing. And when you buy, you'll get $300 in Steinhafels cash. If you want to level up your comfort, you can add anti-snore adjustable base and sleep even better. Steinhafels is your mattress destination, so shop in-store or online at steinhafels.com. We'll get into Packers training camp. Matt LaFleur will be at the podium in 18 minutes. We'll have to wait and see if he has anything of note to share. I'm guessing he'll get some questions about the Ball King, which we will talk about next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
We're on the Badgers.
It reminds me of our 2016 year.
Because we're on Wisconsin Sports.
I think being the underdog is a great thing for Wisconsin football. I think this could be that year.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Mark Tauscher here for the great team at Everlight Solar. There's a bunch of energy and excitement around the start of brand new football seasons in Green Bay and Madison. And speaking of energy, the start of a new football season could also mean the start of a new way to power your home. How would you like to start saving money while also helping save the planet? All you have to do is make the switch with Everlight Solar. Our family is one of many who have made the switch to solar over the last several years. We knew we had wanted to, but weren't exactly sure where to even start. That's when we met with the Everlight team, and they outlined the entire process and educated us on the benefits of making the switch. It was super simple. Join us in saving a ton of money and creating a greener environment for our family and the community by switching to solar. Learn more and schedule a free consultation at everlightsolar.com. That's everlightsolar.com.
This is our crew.
The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Every pitch, every strike, every hit.
At the track, at the wall, jumped up. Jackson Chario brought it back.
Hear the call of every Milwaukee Brewers game this season on 100.5 ESPN.
Mizorowski deals. Struck him out. A heater at 101.
You're listening to Madison's new home for Milwaukee Brewers baseball. 100.5 ESPN.
Take your game to the next level with Vortex Golf. This employee-owned brand out of Wisconsin brings you premium rangefinders like the Blade, Blade Slope, and the Anarch, packed with features like image stabilization, pin spotter mode, and rock-solid accuracy. Backed by a legendary no-questions-asked VIP lifetime warranty and unmatched customer service, Vortex has you covered. Ready to upgrade your gear? Visit maplehillgolf.com and search Vortex to see the full lineup. Vortex Golf, you can bet on it.
If you're considering solar energy, Sweet Metal Roofing and solar panels go hand in hand.
Solar panels install effortlessly over metal, and it enhances the efficiency of your solar energy.
Before you go solar,
install a Sweet Metal roof.
I'm Mike.
And Mary Sweeta. Enjoy the long-lasting architectural strength and beauty of a Sweet Metal roof.
SWITA metalroofing.com.
Sweet Metal Roofing, the last roof you'll ever need.
Looking to join an international quality golf club right here in Madison? Discover TPC Wisconsin, an instant classic in the heart of the Midwest. With a course co-designed by Steve Stricker and PGA Tour Designs, it's the 13th and newest TPC Network golf club in the world. Other high-quality amenities include a short game practice area, athletic performance center, and meeting and dining facilities, plus membership benefits that reach around the globe. Schedule a tour at tpcwisconsin.com and start your journey to a lifetime of priceless golf.
All day, every day, the Carbless Talk and Text line is open for you. 844-770-3776. The Carbless Talk and Text line. This is more.
Take your pick. Metro Ford Madison is bringing the heat this summer. Now through August 4th, get 0% APR financing for 48 months on the 2024 Ford F-150, Escape, Bronco, Expedition, or the 2025 Ford Explorer. $20.83 cost per $1,000 finance. And yes, you can defer payments for 90 days with approved credit. Hurry! Offer ends August 4th at Metro Ford of Madison. Browse our inventory at metrofordofmadison.com. That's metrofordofmadison.com.
After a storm, even seemingly small damage can lead to major problems. If your roof or siding took a hit with this recent storm, your insurance may cover the damage, but the process is still a nightmare. Badgerland Exteriors makes it seamless. They'll guide you through every step and get your family's home back in tip-top shape just as fast as that storm ripped through.
Contracting made easy is more than a tagline. It's how we run our family business. Visit badgerlandexteriors.com to get started on your next project. That's badgerlandexteriors.com.
We're on the Badgers.
All of these folks that put these projections into the world, I don't think they have them winning 6 games.
Because we're on Wisconsin Sports.
So let this team prove that these projections are bunk.
This is 100.5 ESPN.
Take my heart, don't break it. Love me to my bones. All this time I wasted. You were right there all along.
Continuing with John Anderson, our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better, as the Tausch summer sabbatical rolls on. Now, he's scheduled to reappear on Monday at the ESPN Madison Open.
That is the plan. He has shifted plans before based on travel, as we all well know, but he
handles travel setbacks very well, too, from my recollection.
Yes.
Doesn't complain about them at all on subsequent radio programs.
No, not at all. But he should be here on Monday. That is the plan.
Well, we are very lucky to have so many great cousin subs, including Brad Nortman, who I snubbed earlier. All right, I want to get into this because I want to get John Anderson's thoughts, because like me, he's got old school chops. You might be a smidge older than me, but not a ton.
I bet I'm a ton older than you.
I'm 53.
I'm 60.
Oh, holy cow, you are old. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's a gap.
That's not a ton.
That's not a ton. That's a gap. I'll take it. I'll allow it. I'll take it.
I always look at it like this. I was graduating. You were in 5th grade. That's not close. We weren't hanging out.
You know, the greater issue is that there's a 7-year span between myself and Paula. So I don't really love the way you chose to frame that. So let's talk football.
Sure.
So I have one of the overarching themes of camp to this point, undeniably, has been the physicality. I mean, it is Nate Hobbs. We've spent so much time talking about. Then we had the incident and the subsequent take a lap, like you were coaching Green Bay Southwest High School, and there was a little bit of a melee. And the bonding that occurred because of it. But it's fascinating to me. And Goody kind of started it when he spoke on Tuesday and basically said, look, we feel we want to be a certain kind of football team that we think can have success in the playoffs. And that's a physical one. And if we're being honest, and Tausch has said this a bunch, that loss to Philly in the playoff game left a mark. Because I think they feel like they were thoroughly out-physicaled in that game. And so it led to changes on the offensive line. It has led to this emphasis on physical play. And what it has also led to is kind of an unintended consequence are some situations early in camp where guys have crossed the line. And there's been issues. And so I wanted to get to this. You know, we'd heard Matt LaFleur talk about it. We'd heard Goody. I wanted to hear what Rich Bisaccia, who's coached in the league forever, and Adam Stenavich said to this. So let's start with my question to Rich Bisaccia and how he framed the physicality of this training camp thus far.
Hey, Rich, you've done this for a long time. You've been a head coach before. Goody was talking yesterday about how you guys want to be a specific type of team, and physicality is part of it. You know Nate Hobbs from your time with the Raiders. What has the first weekend change been like with the physicality and finding the line between trying to become the team you guys want to be physically and taking care of each other? Because I don't remember a time where it's been a little bit of a struggle to find that line like this.
Yeah, I think it has to start with, Coach LaFleur. I think we sit down, we watch the film of every game last year. We all go through, what are our pluses, what are our minuses, and how we can improve, obviously, as a team. And I think, what Coach has done and what he's instituted is, how we're going to practice and the physicality in which we're going to practice. Now, we're going to do that within the realm of the rules and in the realm of taking care of each other. But we are in training camp. It was very early in pads. Things get a little bit chippy. And so I think we would rather have to pull back. I think every coach would probably say that than have to push, right? And I think that's where yesterday led us to as the day went on. And I compliment Coach and the way he's pushed us in the offseason to look at things that we need to get better at, and each position for us and each group for us, how we can all get better. And I think yesterday was a little bit of what we want it to look like. And, at the end, Coach let them know where the line was and when we crossed the line and what the next padded practice should look like. So I compliment Coach and the way he approached it with us in the offseason to start with. And now the mentality for us is we got to help his vision, come true in practice so that the games can be a little bit different, leaning towards our side.
So, John, my question for you is when you watch this team, and you obviously watched the playoff game, There's no denying that this is an emphasis. Bisaccia just said so. Did you watch them thinking, these guys got the crap kicked out of them by the Eagles, they are not physical enough? Was that one of your takeaways as well?
I thought, other than, the turnovers is always the easiest thing to point to. But I thought there were several games where they they got kind of, I don't know necessarily mauled, but they did not look like they were the more aggressive team or the tougher team. And that is, I always say, it's kind of I always go back to the hockey example, right? You never hear a hockey coach ever, when they say what happened, they never talk about anything other than, we didn't work hard enough. Like, that's the explanation for everything in a hockey game. We didn't work hard enough. We just didn't give the effort. We weren't tough enough. We didn't take the body. And I think that defines football as well. There's a lot to 3 yards in the cloud of dust. There's a reason that all your offensive linemen that you work with want to run block over pass block and all those other things. And I thought they were not the tougher team. And on top of that, I thought, I'd gone over this with Homer, on top of not just what appearing to feel like, because it's hard to take those guys and go, you're not tough enough, right? Like, you've seen that sport. It's hard, right? Guys on Tuesday walk around in their boot and their neck brace and their crutches, and they're probable. And then they show up on Sunday. So I'm trying not to get away to say they're not tough, but they don't ever seem like they're a nasty team, right? Like, I don't know, when you got a guy down and you rub some dirt in his face or something, they just never seem like they have this nasty streak. And I think, listening to Goody, right, like, that is, I mean, he said it pretty much out loud, right? That's calling your team out. Dude, you are not physical enough. You are not nasty enough, which is a pretty bold pronouncement, don't you think?
Very much
for
so.
that guy to make. And so I would think it's out there. And then I very much agree with Bisaccia. I would much rather have to pull somebody back. It's like when I tell people all the time, write more than you need. It's way easier to take it out than come back and put it back in and make it fit and do all those other things. And so that we have a bit of a casualty with Lynch, like, that to me is some of the price of doing business if you're going to be what you want to be. And for years, they did 2 days, and it was padded practices, and you had Oklahoma drills and all this other stuff. And I don't know that there were appreciably more injuries than there are now when you try to be cautious. In fact, I think there are times the caution gets in the way of what's happening. It's kind of the old John Madden, right? Either get into the pile or get away from it. But if you kind of dance around it, you're going to be in trouble. So I wouldn't be particularly upset. I guess, LaFleur really really dressed him down about what happened there, which is, I wonder if that is him trying to show he's involved, right? Like, he's going to be just as mean and nasty as they are. I'm curious to see if that sells. I'm curious to your thought on that, because you're around him and have been since he showed up. But that seems a little bit of a departure for him as well when it comes through. But I do think, that's a team. They need to be way nastier as a group than they were before. I'm not saying they're polite. And I also made mention of this before, because you can be West Coast offensive guys and do all that other stuff and be mean and nasty. Those 49er teams under Bill Walsh, for as smart as Bill Walsh was and the genius in their finesse, dude, Ronnie Lott and those guys on the defensive line with Fred Dean or Charles Haley, or you go back to the offensive line, those guys were like, what does Dylan said? They were like they were born in a hurricane with a snake in each fist. And so that's, that doesn't preclude, just because you may run more screen passes or rhythm throws, doesn't mean you can't just be nasty up front. And I think that's right. The Packers have to do that. The Lions clearly have that, and it comes from their head coach, though it seems a bit more organic coming from him than it does Matt.
Yeah, and I'd be curious if because I said this to Jen, Gabe, and Chewy this morning. My bias of, boy, that was really neat that all those guys ran with Sheed.
Yeah,
I took the story that angle, and I think there is the question to be asked of, because Rasheed Walker's reaction, which I did include in my story, to being told to take a lap of what? It was like that face that It's like that face that Steph Curry made to LeBron during the finals. Remember that, like 6 or 7 years ago? Like, what are you yelling at me for? Like,
Yeah.
I do wonder if those guys, while they were running, were turning. Can you believe he told us to take a lap? What is this, high school? So I don't know about that, but I did not focus on that. All right, you just said the perfect segue, though, to what Adam Stenavich had as his answer to my question, because, look, they have revamped their offensive line. Look, say what you want about how much they try to give away Sean Ryan's job. I mean, they're always looking to replace him, and it appears they're always looking to replace Rasheed Walker. But Sean Ryan is nasty, and not just because he uses the F word every fifth word when I talk to him. He plays with an edge. They got Aaron Banks because he's a big bad dude, right? They wanted a bigger. They moved Elton to center instead of bringing back Josh Myers because they wanted another guy that can be nasty. We've seen it. He got into it. He has the guts to get into it with Aaron Donald. He ain't afraid of nobody. And I wondered if they viewed this physicality as something they needed to start with their offensive line. So Adam Stenavich, the offensive coordinator but former offensive line coach, felt like the perfect person to ask.
We've spent a lot of time talking about physicality this camp. I'm curious for your guys, especially up front. Was there an off-season feeling of, after the way things went in Philly or the way Detroit plays, we need to be more physical?
Yeah, I think, anytime, you get to those playoffs, you get to that position, however you are, where you're at is going to get exposed. And I think that's one thing we talked about, and one thing, we're going to focus on is making sure we're the most physical football team on the field when we go out there and play. That's going to be a big thing for us. So, yes.
And I love Steno, and I hope the competition line about Zach Tom and some other things he said do not prevent him from being as open and honest as he is, because he is honest. And he just used a word that tells you what they think. Exposed. Right? He thinks they got exposed. They think as a team that they got exposed by the Eagles as not being the more physical team. And John, that's his again, he's not the offensive line coach, but that's his background. He played that position in the league. Yeah. It's pretty clear to me that they feel like that's the place that it's got to start. You always want your defense to be physical. They did sign Nate Hobbs for that reason. But on offense, yeah, that's great. They got a great scheme, and Matt LaFleur is a smart guy. But you hear it with Homer when you sit with him every Tuesday. They need to be more physical offensively, and it starts with those guys up front, doesn't it?
Well, and that's like, don't you think of all the things you can be called, that's the most insulting thing in football, is that, oh my gosh, you weren't tough enough or you weren't physical enough. Like, that is just the worst insult of, that. And of course your mama jokes, but beyond that, that's like the worst thing that you can do, right? Okay, you turn it over. Well, we can work on ball security. We can, there are a lot of other aspects that define winning and losing, but the one that would insult people the most is that, like, you guys the other team was tougher than you, because like that's the worst admission that can happen. So I think if they are willing to say that publicly, both Goody and then what Stenavich said, like, then they're getting an earful behind closed door in meeting rooms and stuff, right? That's being preached. I don't know that that's how they write it on the whiteboard when they go out, but that's got to be. I don't know if they've painted any new signs that you can see along with their play like a champion today, but that they've got to be worn out. Which is, by the way, in some part why you got to look at LaFleur like, wait a minute, you give me a lap and I'm doing exactly what you want me to do, right? Like, right. At some point, great point. Right? At some point, does LaFleur go? When he gets back and he goes, was that great or what? Like, that's what we needed. So a little of that, I'm not really sure why he then suddenly condemned that when that appears to be the exact thing they were looking for. And I do think, there's no question when they were jogging that somebody had to say something like, what the hell is this? Like, we've got to be, I don't know if they discussed, where they were going after practice. Or who's got a date for prom yet, but I'm sure that it was quite the the thing. But to have those two guys, as you said, because offensive line coaches are always offensive line coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it never ends. They're the guys that are always seem to be, I don't know Stenavich well, but some of the guys that I used to be around, whether it was college guys, Carl Mock with the Cardinals was an all-timer about that, you know. And Carl Mark, there were times he was like, let me show you how you do it. And I'm just here in my bike coach's shorts and I don't have a helmet, but I'm willing to go just pound into whoever the defensive tackle is to show you how it's done. So guys like Steno, like you said, that's his DNA. That's never going to go away and how he feels it. So maybe that's a plus that's the guy in that coordinator position. But if I were those guys, I would do the same. I'm like, if this is what you're asking for on both sides, I'd go until they got to pull me off somebody, you know? And then at some point, if it gets bad, because you're adults, I would say, so what do you want? Where's, you know, how much is enough? Because I don't think you can just show up on you know, the Jets game in the preseason or even week 1 and just conjure that up. You know, and I think they've shown that with how poorly they've played in the first game. We've talked about that before. Like you can't just, okay, here it is. I guess now we'll be physical. I think you got to have some of the bruises and the welts on you before you ever get into the regular season.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder what they're going to do from a preseason perspective. If this is because, look, to your point, and I think you're 1,000% right. You preach this, you have to know that guys are going to go too far, right? And I think, you know, maybe it's a little bit out of Matt's comfort zone that they're being this physical, because I think he does. You know, Homer says it all the time. You know, he's smart more than tough. That's his mentality. That's what he believes in philosophically, and I don't blame him for that. But if you're going to be constantly harping on the importance of being physical, don't be surprised when guys are too physical. Right? That's the
what is too physical? Until the flag comes out, I don't know what too physical is. Right. I don't think that is a thing.
Right, exactly. So that is kind of where they're at. Matt LaFleur is at the podium now. We'll see exactly what he talks about. I am here with John Anderson. Want to tell you about Associated Bank, who has been here with us as a show from the very beginning, and with the Packers from the very beginning, way back in 1919. You know, I love their old saying about how it's not branches that make a bank local, it's roots. And the roots are incredibly deep here in Green Bay and in the state of Wisconsin. And more importantly, their customer service goes deep as well, whether it's early pay that gets you your money up to 2 days early with your direct deposit, or credit monitoring, or fraud protection, or the great Packers, Badgers, and Brewers checking accounts. They've got it all. So be sure to go to AssociatedBank.com to find out more. More with John Anderson, our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs. We believe in better. It's Wilde and Tausch.
We're on the Packers.
The last 4 or 5 games are going to be very difficult.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
But I still think they can get 11 wins out of this schedule.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
Mark Toscher here, inviting you to Throwback Thursday at the Pizza Hut in Platteville on Thursday, August 7th. From 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Enjoy special throwback prices on pizza, wings, fountain drinks, and more. I'll be at Pizza Hut in Platteville from noon to 2 after Wisconsin's practice, and I've invited some special guests to hang out as well. And when you stop by, enter to win a signed jersey or pizza for a year. Throwback Thursday at Pizza Hut, Thursday, August 7th, exclusively at Pizza Hut in Platteville.
You, rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute brought to you by your Badgerland Chevy dealers, proud supporters of Badger Athletics. Go to BadgerlandChevy.com.
In for Pablo Iglesias, I'm Jesse Nelson. With a bunch of big-time games looming on the schedule this football season, former Badgers running back Melton Gordon says there's one in particular he most wants to see Wisconsin win.
You bring the axe home. I don't care about nothing else. I don't care about any other game. We need to bring that axe back home, or we're going to continue to be on the edge. If we lose every game and win that one, I'll be like, okay, we got hope.
Find Melton Gordon's full appearance on Jim, Matt, and Molly on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
For windows with the strongest resilience, you need the Pella experience. Get 0% interest for up to 5 years if you order by July 31st at PellaWI.com.
When you've been injured, you need a winning team on your side. Gruber Law Offices will fight for the results you deserve. Call Gruber Law Offices today, a proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers. One call, that's all.
Siding Unlimited is Wisconsin's leader in Pella window installation. In fact, we are Wisconsin's only Pella Platinum Premier Certified contractor, and we've won Pella's prestigious National Contractor of the Year award 5 times. It's easy to get started. The process starts with homeowners meeting us at Siding Unlimited's amazing showroom on 2018 South Stoughton Road in Madison. Trust me, our showroom is a must-see. Looking for new windows, siding, roofing, and doors? Visit us at sidingunlimited.com or stop by our beautiful showroom in Madison.
Gear up for Quick Trip's Mountain Dew Quick Climb. Now through August 17th. Play free daily in the Quick Rewards app and earn bonus plays with every eligible purchase. Grab one with hot food. That's 2 bonus plays. Each week, the cash prize climbs by $5,000, all the way to a $250,000 grand prize. So open the app and get climbing. Your summer, your climb, your win. No purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents residing in Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, Michigan, South Dakota, North Dakota, or Wisconsin. Ends August 17th. Bonus plays require qualifying purchase. See full rules at quicktrip.com/sweepstakes.
The ESPN Madison Open presented by Coors Light is back. On Monday, August 4th, the ESPN Madison crew is packing their bags and teeing off at TPC Wisconsin for a day on the links. This year's Open is benefiting Mentoring Positives, a nonprofit based right here in Madison dedicated to uplifting youth and families through mentoring, athletics, and youth entrepreneurship. ESPN Madison Open also brought to you by Badgerland Exteriors, Annex Wealth Management, Sunday Paper, Incredible Bank, Borikov Osman LLC, and Retirement Income Strategies.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here. American Family Insurance can help protect your dream home for whatever comes next. You can live in your own oasis or your own clubhouse. Whatever you choose, get the right coverage. Save up to 23% by bundling home and auto. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI and its operating companies. 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
For official rules and more information about every contest on 100.5 ESPN, visit ESPNWisconsinContests.com. That's ESPNWisconsinContests.com. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN app.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
Let's make tonight the weekend. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. Got no reason not to celebrate. Baby, I just don't wanna wait. Tonight's the weekend. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna
Matt LaFleur at the podium downstairs. He says that Marshawn Lloyd's groin injury is not long-term, but you will not see him the rest of the week. So he'll miss family night on Saturday night. Maybe he'll be back sometime next week. But again, not many guys I've come across with far worse luck than Marshawn Lloyd has experienced so far in his NFL career. Jesse, what is our physicality conversation brought on the carbless talk and text line? Less is more.
Some critique of Matt LaFleur is what it's brought. Here's a text from the 727 area code. Any guesses where that is? I looked it up.
Wyoming.
Nope. Western Florida, near St. Petersburg. St. Pete. Remember to send us your name and where you're texting from so we can give you proper credit. Should you be tough and build a tough team without losing emotional control? Maybe LaFleur didn't work on this stuff in the offseason. He's under more pressure this year. He needs to be under control now more than ever. I think the critique there is that LaFleur lost a little emotional control yelling at the team on Tuesday. Do you think that's an accurate portrayal or no?
I don't think he lost control. I would say that the other part of that, though, when the new team president comes in and says point blank to us that they're not going to get extensions before the season and that he doesn't believe in lame duck status, I think it's what Tausch and you and I talked about previously. Jesse. The fact that, this is basically a scenario where if they have a great season, they're going to both Goody and LaFleur are going to get multi-year extensions. If they have another 9-8 and sneak into the playoffs and lose in the first round, they're probably going to get 1-year extensions, and they're going to be big time on the clock in 2026. And if somehow the floor falls out from beneath them and they go 4-13, then we got some really interesting conversations that are going to be occurring. But I don't foresee that last scenario playing out. But I do think he's feeling it a little bit. I have not gotten that indication from him. I'm just kind of reading some tea leaves there. But, he has been more demonstrative. And it wasn't just having Rasheed Walker go for a jog. It was, he got after them in that post-game huddle. He swore a lot, which, again, I swear, not on this show, although I may have used a word I shouldn't have on KBN recently. But the bottom line is that, coaches do that. Let's not pretend that, they're up there, reading Ephesians. It's part of the deal. But it is out of character for him because that has not been something he's done a lot of.
What do you suppose that is? Why is it that in football, more than anything, you got yellers, screamers, and curses?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I do think there's also more of it in basketball than there are in other places too. And that's why I just remember watching Brad Stevens coach when he was at Butler and thinking, that's the kind of guy I want to play for. Because when I screw up, it's not because I screwed up because I wanted to screw up or I'm not trying hard enough. So screaming at me, that doesn't work for me. Give me the tools so I don't screw up more. Help me learn how to do this so I don't. And I in my much lower level, I try to coach the same way. I just don't think it's productive. Football coaches, I don't know. I don't get it. It is, and they don't have a staff full of those guys now, by the way. They do not have a lot of those guys.
If it is testosterone, I don't know if it is, that's how you get the attention. I don't know if it's because you get so wildly emotional, that's the only way you can get attention. But I've been to Missouri's first couple of practices, and they're always, even if it is not in anger, there's always yelling, there's always screaming. And I'm with you. Like, if you want me to do something, I feel like I'm smart. Just tell me what you'd like me to do, and then I'll go do that. And I don't think, and I always marvel or wonder with the coaches that always go, we're teachers first. We're not coaches, we're teachers. Because I had math teachers, and every once in a while I get a math problem wrong, and never once in front of the rest of the class did they just dress me down and scream at me because I had my math problem wrong, right? Like, so if you're teachers, I don't know how, like, some of the things coaches do, you're like, if you were a teacher and did that in a classroom, like this, and this has nothing to do with my current profession. I've always wondered this, like, just because you misconjugated a verb, are you just going to really take me to the woodshed? But guys jump off the snap count, and you'd swear that this is the next thing to a felony. And I've always been amazed at the amount of screaming and yelling that happens in football. And I don't know that all of it is necessary, but I don't know. It works. Listen, Lombardi yelled at people and they won a lot of games, so maybe I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Right, but I would say, like Jeff Hafley, I think, to me, and again, we'll see what his defense does this year, he sure looks like a really good coach to me. And he's not that way. He's more, dare I say, professorial, right? He's a teacher. And yeah, I do think that there has been a trend, and I'm not saying that Sean McVay doesn't yell or Kyle Shanahan doesn't yell, but the reason why LaFleur, when he does it, is noteworthy is because that's not his style either. Like, they just don't. I think that we're in an era, and we have a style of coach with a background that aren't that way. And so I think there is a trend away from that. And the reason it's jumping out this summer is because it's not how he normally is. And that's what leads to questions.
And I'll be curious to see, because you know this, you've been around. Guys will tell if it's authentic or not. If they think he's just, cursing and putting up the volume to make a show of it and try to, not for those assembled, but the guys he's talking to, they'll know if he's just, okay, like coach apparently has just decided today he's going to yell. And that's him. And so I think it's easy for them to tell if like, wow, he's really pissed and this is what he's making his point, or if they think it's for show. I'll be curious to see, because it's so early, if there's more of this, and to the point of, talking about if he's lost control. I'm with you. I think just because you make the Walker thing and then you all have to practice one time, I don't know that changes or redefines your whole personality or that you've lost it. But I will be curious to see if it persists or what happens. And then if guys think it's genuine and are moved by it, or if they become quickly dismissive of it, if it's not authentic.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. Authenticity does not play. All right, let's take one more text and then we'll get to the 10 o'clock hour, because I really want to get to the Ball King, which I can guarantee you, if you know anything about me, as soon as Hafley started talking about it yesterday, I was all in and very much looking forward to writing that story.
Dave and Aaron here on the Carbless Talk and text line. Lists is more. The team wasn't physical last year, but Jason, I think LaFleur needs to be called out as well, because it seemed like he took the foot off the pedal in multiple games, making it much closer than it needed to be.
I don't know if I agree with that. I'm not sure that I got that feeling in some of those games. I do.
I think teams took their foot off the pedal against them more than they did last year. Like the Vikings twice, they almost had big comebacks.
Yeah, and I would also say this, I think in some instances that's not LaFleur, that's immaturity. Like, I do think that this is one of the drawbacks of having perpetually young teams and not veterans that are going to get after you. If you start to, I think it's more likely players took their foot off the pedal, right? And thought, all right, we've got a 17-point lead, we're good. I think that's more likely the case than LaFleur, because remember this about Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur was so concerned in that playoff game against Dallas and is so leery of blowing a lead that he took Love out. The Cowboys got a couple of scores, I think a touchdown or a field goal, maybe it was 2 touchdowns. I don't think so. And when he took Love out, and the only reason I remember this is I was mad at him because it was perfect, no pun intended, for the story. Love left the game with a perfect 158.3 passer rating. And he put in Sean Clifford, and then the Cowboys scored a couple times, and he panicked, and he put Love back in promptly to throw a pass to Tucker Kraft on a 3rd down that Tucker Kraft dropped and ruined the perfect passer rating, which, as a writer, I wanted the perfect passer rating. He had a perfect game, and he ruined it, Jerry. Our day was ruined, Jerry. But I don't think he has a problem with keeping his foot on the gas. I think he said all gas, no blank and break to Aaron Rodgers several years ago. I think he believes that. Dave, I would say this to Dave and Aaron. Dave in Aaron, not Dave and Aaron, which it sounded like I said. That I don't think there's a lot of things to criticize LaFleur for. I think there's fair criticism to be had against him. I don't think that's one of them. That's just me. All right, I want to get to the Ball King, and the King of Missouri will help me with that in the 10 o'clock hour, or at least the professor. 7-2.5, Sharapova, whatever we're calling him these days.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on.
Homer's one of one, man. There's no two ways about that. That's for sure.
Easily distracted.
He is. That's part of his charm. All right, we will kick off the 10 o'clock hour late like we do on this show pretty much every single day, no matter who's hosting, no matter who's a guest, no matter what. Wilde and Tausch continues in 2 minutes, so stick around.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Hi, this is Lee, inviting you to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. We got a great happy hour every day of the week from 4 o'clock to 7, and our patio during the summer is open too. If you're getting married, special occasion, a birthday, anniversary, or even a business meeting, we've got all the accommodations right here at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
You work hard, and sometimes you're not sure what you want to do, where you want to spend your money. I want to encourage you to come into Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and say hello. It'd be a pleasure to meet you.
Hi, this is former Badger Pro Football Hall of Famer Joe Thomas. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN WTLX Monona, Madison. Good Karma Brands radio station.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson, SportsCenter, brought to you by Goodman's Jewelers, the diamond store of Madison for generations. Check them out, 220 State Street and online at goodmansjewelers.com. The Milwaukee Brewers unable to come away with a sweep of the Chicago Cubs, falling 10-3 in the series finale yesterday afternoon at American Family Field. But good news on trade deadline day. The Brewers, the best team in baseball still, with a record of 64-44. That's 20 games over 500. Nobody is better in all of Major League Baseball. The Brewers one game up on the Cubs in the NL Central Division standings. An off day today for Milwaukee before traveling to the nation's capital to take on the Washington Nationals tomorrow. By the way, tomorrow's game exclusively televised on Apple TV+. Of course, you can always listen to it right here on Madison's home of the Brewers, 100.5 ESPN. 5 o'clock this afternoon, the MLB trade deadline. One of the names the Brewers were linked to, Eugenio Suarez of the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's now Eugenio Suarez of the Seattle Mariners, according to ESPN's Jeff Passan overnight. Suarez on his way to Seattle in one of the big trades at the deadline. Stay tuned right here at 100.5 ESPN all day long for all the latest trade deadline developments.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
So yesterday, and it was funny because Jeff Hafley was caught unaware when Matt Schneidman from The Athletic asked about the Ball King, and he was like, how do you know about that? Well, Matt LaFleur said it in a press conference. So that's how we know. So it's out there, Jerry. And we're loving every minute of it. And so this is great. I don't know if it's going to work. I also don't understand exactly what they obviously everybody wants more takeaways. They were fourth in the league last year in takeaways. It's not like they stunk in that department, but they believe that they have that they need to, in order to generate even more takeaways, they need to force more fumbles. They forced and recovered 14 fumbles last year. Again, not horrible. But to be the defense that Jeff Hafley wants them to be, they got to do better than that. And so that's what he's harping on and emphasizing. And as Tausch will tell you, in the NFL, you get what you emphasize, and then you also get what you tolerate on the negative side. And so this is what they are emphasizing. To the point of, and Jeff talked a lot about, how they're talking about attacking the football. And then that led to him announcing that Wendell Davis, their quality controls coach on the defensive side of the ball, his name has officially been changed in the building. He is now the Ball King. And so every day at the start of their meeting on the defensive side, I think that's what Jeff Hafley said, the defensive meeting, the unit meeting, Wendell Davis, Ball King, we're supposed to call him BK for short, is up at the front of the room, and he's got a video presentation from the previous practice in which they go through plays where guys forced fumbles, plays where guys had a chance to take a peanut punch in honor of Peanut Tillman and knocked the ball out and didn't. Missed opportunities. Times where guys maybe gave half-hearted efforts and it didn't result in a fumble. And Matt LaFleur revealed this stuff during the same conversation in which he said that Tucker Kraft needs to do a better job of keeping the ball security. And then Tucker Kraft said that that's what they call a bus fine because he threw him under the bus. Not sure coaches are subject to bus fines, but maybe players should be. But be that as it may, it was really interesting. And what I wanted, and look, and I'm sure there'll be those in the YouTube comments or on Twitter. I think of myself as storyteller first. And one of the pieces of being a good storyteller is giving people stuff that they can't otherwise get. Right? I mean, you talk about that with your students, I'm sure, all the time. Mm-hmm. And so I want to be able to take you into that meeting room, and they're not going to let me sit in on a meeting. So it's my job to find other ways to get that kind of stuff to share with our readers and our listeners. And so I asked Hafley, since it's out there anyway, what are these meetings like? How do they work? And he gave a great response that took us into the inner sanctum of a Packers meeting. Here is that exchange from yesterday.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to understand the ball king presentation. He gets up there every day, Matt said, right? So
yes.
Are you showing clips of guys doing it right? What is the presentation since Matt gave it?
All right, we'll go into the ball king presentation. This might take a little bit, but that's okay. Today's a player's off day. So I start off every unit meeting like this, right? And I usually go over a bunch of clips, good, bad, what I like, what I didn't like. I try to correct stuff, I install, but I let him start the meeting because the ball is the most important thing. All right, we've picked teams. He puts the charts up there. He shows the teams. So we'll tally stuff. I don't want to give away all the secrets, but we'll tally stuff that happens. You get minuses, right? So we hold him accountable, and we have a game within the game. So he gets up there and he'll show the point system. He's got a unique siren now built into the ceiling that every time we get a turnover, he hits a button and the siren blares, right? So we want to sound the siren as much as we can. But then he has fun with it. You know, he'll show some video clips, some fun videos, but it always comes back to different ways to teach how to attack the football, how are we going to respond when we get an interception, the ball's on the ground, how we're going to scoop it. He'll call guys out who were in position to take a punch and they didn't. He'll call guys out who we don't think took a real punch, took a not very aggressive punch. But it's stuff that the guys are having fun with, but they're starting to swing and they're starting to run out of the stacks. And that's what I'm most proud of right now. It's the effort that the guys have. But, you know, like I said, he's done a good job of emphasizing that to start. We got an award we give out each week for it, which every team around the league is going to do it. I just think he's taking it to another step.
So I think my favorite part was when he was explaining it and talked about this siren that they've put in the room. And it blares when they have a good play. Like, John, I understand this is the NFL and is a business and it's about winning and losing, but it's also about figuring out ways to motivate and connect with your players. And I don't know about you, but this sounds like a really smart way to go about it. I don't know if they're going to have more fumbles or not. I don't know if they're going to have more takeaways or not, but the ball king concept, couldn't love it more.
Well, his enthusiasm for the project shows through, right? Like, it just oozes out of him. And so he must feel like he's onto something. And you can tell just by what that he must be getting some, if not results yet, reaction to it for sure. That clearly it's resonating in the room with those guys, or he would not be that willing to talk and that effusive about it. You know, the energy of it all was you could tell. It wasn't one of these things where, it's just a thing. Don't worry, it's the thing we do with guys, right? Like, he took great pride in what he was discussing, which tells me that their guys are at least responding to it in the room. If they can respond to it between the sidelines and the goal lines, then it'll be even better. But, it does sound something. You're right. You got to find new ways to preach the same message. and get it through. And then just the title is so wonderfully ridiculous. It can't help but, you can't help but draw the guy's attention to it. He's the ball king. Like it's amazing. And I do like his thing about the ball's the most important thing. John Chaney, the old coach at Temple, God rest his soul, that was always saying when he tried to preach guys about turnovers, he's like, it's called basketball. The whole game is named after the ball. So that should tell you how important the thing is. It's called football. That's how important the thing is. And so you should protect it with that. They don't just call it, passing and running. It's called football. So that tells you what is valued in the game.
I'm not sure if John Chaney has gotten as much credit for saying that as I'll kill you when he went into that press conference and went after Calipari, right?
Yeah, went after Cal. Yeah. Yeah, there was that too.
I have a question for John about this defense because we spent a lot of time on Green Bay game day when you would join us. When I look back on what this defense did last season, I'm fascinated by what the next step might be. So I want to get into that with John coming up before we head down to practice. Before we do that, time to remind you again about Gruber Law Offices. And I always say, I hope you never have to make the call. One call, that's all. We talk about it all the time. But I hope you never have to make the call. Look, Paula and Maddie are fine. They had a little bit of whiplash when they got rear-ended in Madison, but it was I didn't know what to do. I didn't, do I need to go send them to the hospital? What do I do with insurance? All those kinds of things. And then obviously, is there litigation to be had here? Well, we didn't go that direction, obviously, but that's the great thing about Gruber Law Offices. They know all the answers. They've been through this thousands upon thousands of times, and they're one call away. 414-276-6666, 414-276-6666, or go to the website, gruber-law.com. Gruber Law Offices, one call. That's all. We will get to the Packers defense some more next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Metro Kia Madison is turning up the summer savings this month. Right now, drive home in the all-new 2026 Kia Sportage with 1.9% APR for 48 months. $21.65 cost per thousand finance. But hurry, offer ends August 4th. Plus, at Metro Kia Madison, every new Kia vehicle comes with a 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty and 90-day deferred payments with qualified credit. Head to Metro Kia Madison today or browse their inventory at MetroKiaMadison.com. That's MetroKiaMadison.com.
Live the high life at Nitty Gritty, home of the famous Gritty Burger and Madison's official birthday place. Celebrate your birthday at Nitty Gritty and receive a free Memento birthday mug to fill with free beers, specialty birthday cocktails, or soda all day long. The Nitty Gritty has celebrated almost 900,000 birthdays, and birthday celebrant number 900,000 will receive a $1,000 Amex gift card. Grab some friends and celebrate your birthday at the Nitty Gritty, located in Madison, Middleton, and Sun Prairie. The Nitty Gritty, a tradition since 1968.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
The sound of summaries on ESPN Madison.
The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Madison's home of the Brewers.
Mizorowski deals. Struck him out. A heater at 101.
Catch every Milwaukee Brewers game this season on 100.5 ESPN.
Back and watching it sail. It's a grand slam.
Brewers baseball on ESPN Madison is presented by Hard Rock Casino Rockford and brought to you by the Pfister Hotel in downtown Milwaukee.
Listen to Madison Money Guy every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. on 100.5 ESPN and ESPNWisconsin.com.
I like to refer to inflation as the silent killer. It's an invisible risk. It's just the idea that things get more expensive over time. You're going to need milk and eggs when you're in your early 60s and when you're in your early 80s. You're going to get a loaf of bread, and it's going to be more expensive 20 years from now.
Christian Finfrock is the Madison Money Guy. Call him today at 208-1800.
It's always a beautiful experience coming out to the ballpark. Many fans prep in the parking lot amongst our legendary tailgaters. When you're ready for new windows and doors, prep for those at the Pella Experience Center in Brookfield. See, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of window and door options from different Pella lines side by side. And if you order by July 31st, get 0% interest for up to 5 years on Blue Mountain Road, or visit PellaWI.com today.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Bruss talking about our friends at Road America, America's National Park of Speed. Get out of your house this summer and go to Road America, located conveniently between Green Bay and Milwaukee and Elkhart Lake. Come see a race at the legendary 4-mile, 14-turn road circuit that has hosted some of the best races since 1955. Motul Sports Car Grand Prix featuring IMSA is up next on July 30th through the 1st of August. Camp on site all weekend and enjoy free admission for kids 16 and under with a paying adult at the gate. Come for the experience and stay for the race. Get your tickets at roadamerica.com.
Have you been waiting to buy your next home? Stop. Now is the time to get housed. What's up, Madison? It's Stacy from Bruner Realty. Nobody has a crystal ball to know what the future holds. The longer you wait to find your next home, the better the chance you'll be paying more for it than you would be today. Don't miss out on what could be the best opportunity to find your dream home. Contact our team at BrunerRealtyInc.com to help start your search. That's BrunerRealtyInc.com. Let's get housed.
We're on the Brewers.
2025 wants to be in the discussion as one of the greatest Brewers teams of all time.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
It's going to come down to what they do in October.
This is Madison's new home of Milwaukee Brewers baseball. 100.5 ESPN.
We roll on with John Anderson, our cousin sub today. Cousin subs, we believe in better. I do have one request of you. I don't want to ask for much because you've been a good friend, and I wear my Mizzou hoodie with pride and my 2 sizes too small T-shirt that I love. Sydney loves it as a night shirt, though, so it's worked out great.
Well, there you go. We're getting used to it. We're getting used out of it.
There's some specifics to that shirt that I don't want out there, but it's awesome. And so my question is this. When you, having come up through as a Packers fan, like, what is your, like, for me, you know, it's Lofton and Jefferson and Dickey, right? Because that was, like, I was born in 72, so, like, those early 80s teams were my formative years as a fan. Given that you're so significantly older than me, by 7 years.
Big
I'm
age
curious.
difference.
Yeah, huge, big gap. I'm curious, like, what do you hang your childhood nostalgia hat on as a Packers fan?
So the 2 guys that I really, really liked as a kid when I first was old enough to remember were John Brockington, great Ohio State running back, who was the first NFL running back ever to have 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons to start a career. That kind of got blown by, I think it was Tony Dorsett, and then I think, Barry Sanders had 10 around a row, so he was in. And then I was crushed when they traded away Willie Buchanan. 28 was really,
the Chargers.
And he'd gone to San Diego State, so they kind of sent him back home. But he was in a secondary and a time that they weren't great. He was kind of the bell cow of that. And I can name the rest of the guys, right? They had Clarence Big Cat Williams and Mike McCoy and Eldon Roche and Jim Carter and Freddie Carr, who was a linebacker. Like yesterday, I played golf 2 days ago, whatever it was, with my son, and we had car number 53. And I'm like, ooh, we got Freddie Carr, 53, the only car that hits like a truck. And then you had Willie in the backside, along with Jim Hill was there, and Steve Luke and Al Matthews. Now Matthews, I can remember when he got drafted. He was 29 when he got picked in the expansion draft by the Seattle Seahawks. Right, like, so those were all the guys I knew, and they weren't great, right? And then I think when Al left is when Johnny Gray came in and took over for him. But offensively, and they got MacArthur Lane, they came in pretty well. They always struggled at quarterback because Taggy wasn't, when they drafted him, he wasn't there. Scott Hunter was the guy that helped win the division, but he wasn't great. And they went through all this stuff. They had Jim Del Gazo for a while. I don't remember that guy. He was actually on the Dolphins' undefeated 72 team, and they traded a second-round draft pick for him. He may have started a game or two. And so those were the guys that I remember a lot. That, when you're a kid, those were the guys that were 10 feet tall to me. And you could meet, I don't care, like Charles Woodson, right, one of the all-time great Packers. And he worked with us for a time. And so I'd see Charles Woodson, I'd say hi, and he knew I was from Green Bay. But it's not the same as like the first time I met Willie Buchanan, because there's something about meeting those guys that suddenly you're not. When I met Willie, I was probably 35, but I felt like I was 7 years old again, right? It's kind of like the difference between interviewing or saying hi to Tiger Woods as opposed to Jack Nicklaus, right? One, you're just like, okay, I get Tiger's famous and he's really good, but whatever that is, he kind of grew up when I was in the business, and Jack Nicklaus was, this guy. So those were the guys that back in the day that I love. I wish they had played more, or won more. And then it was just different because you didn't see them as often. It wasn't as obsequious. They weren't just everywhere all the time. And I can remember. So I lived in Green Bay. I love telling this story. During the old blackout rules, early 70s, right? When it didn't matter if you sold it out 72 hours in advance. The game was never shown in the local market. So we'd sit there in our front yard, or a lot of times we could get up, the way our house was, we could just jump up on the roof, and we'd sit there and listen to the game on the radio. And then if there was a great play, you counted to 3, and that's how long it took for the sound and the roar from Lambeau Field to get to our house. It was great physics lessons. Imagine you could count it, and some, Crazy Ray Greisinger, my physics teacher at Southwest, would tell you exactly, you could figure out the speed of sound by listening to it. But I can, and the one, the loudest groan ever, the loudest reaction was when they played the Raiders. And that was when Jack Tatum had the longest fumble return in NFL history, and it still might be tied for that. It was close. And they had a little option pass or option play, and it bounced off, I think it was Mac Lane, and he scoops up in the end zone and goes the other way. So we're listening on the radio, and you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And like, I'm 7 years old. This is what is more crushing when you're 7 than giving up, a touchdown when you're going in for a score. And you waited, and all of a sudden, 1, 2, 3, and then just this unbelievable groan. It was like all the air had been sucked out of Green Bay proper, at least on the west side. Because as you know, I grew up on the hardscrabble streets of the west side.
Indeed.
Yeah, where there was no drinking allowed, I think, right? The west side, I think, was the one that used to be dry. It was dry for the longest time. And then the east side was the only place you could get liquor.
Wow.
Back in the day.
I didn't. So here's why I asked this question. As much as Jesse wants to talk about alcohol consumption right now. Both for your childhood and mine, generally speaking, their defenses sucked. And quite frankly,
John Anderson was
of course, yes, the other John Anderson is just like the other Mark Murphy. But like, we know obviously that in 2010 when they won the Super Bowl, Dom Capers' defense was really good. But Homer harps on this all the time, and he's right to do so. I mean, defensively, they just have not been, for everything this organization has accomplished, their defenses have not been very good. Period. Like, you had the Fritz Schirmer defenses, and then Mike Sherman had trouble, the 4th and 26, all that. Mike McCarthy never had great defenses, started out with 3 years with because he couldn't get Jim Bates to stay after Jim Bates didn't get the head coaching job. He had a guy named Bob Sanders who was overmatched. Then he got Dom. They had success. And then Dom had a bunch of years where it wasn't so good. 14, it was good again, and then they obviously did what they did in Seattle. Like, there's just it's been rare for them to be genuinely good on defense. Yeah. Last year, even with their issues with a pass rush, they were top 10 or top 5 in scoring and yardage. I think they were 5th in yardage, 6th in scoring. They were 4th in takeaways. They were 8th in sacks, which I don't know how that's even possible, given how bad their front four was. I think there's a chance they could be really, really, really good. Like not necessarily like Baltimore Ravens of 2000 good, but pretty damn good. And I'm just wondering, for those of us that have either covered teams that haven't been defensively very good or, frankly, grown up with Packers teams, how different are things if they actually have a really good defense? How does that change everything for everyone else, including the quarterback, who obviously has to play better as well?
Right. I think it's an entire, it's a huge difference maker. And now you sound like a cliche with defense wins championships, but you look at the teams that, I get where the points are scored, but like who you shut out the Saints, who were starting Rattler, who's not even a good G League quarterback or whatever they have, XFL or whatever it is. They held Indianapolis to 10. Okay, well, Anthony Richard has shown that he can play he looks like he could play every position on the field except for the one he's employed to play. And then when they played Philly, it's 29, or they give up 34. And the Vikings, they give up 31. I'm looking at it now. So some of those times, Detroit, they give up 34. So some of those numbers, right? It's the old thing. We can make the stats say whatever you want them to say. Yeah. So 8th overall is great, but go look at the teams they lost to, and then the points they gave up, and then that becomes troubling. But if they can be salty, and if they can hold teams down, and you're right, I don't know that you can be the 85 Bears of the 2000 Ravens. By the way, Ray Lewis, the 85 Bears are a better defense than the 2000 Ravens. But anyway, I say that again from a safe difference from Ray, like he's going to be punch me in the face, but
or worse.
But yeah, just remember he was not he was prosecuted, but he says he was persecuted. There's two different things. So if they could do that, and I do, this is my worry every time I watch football, but it's especially telling with the Packers. How many times do you sit there on 3rd down and go, just get them off the field, just get them off the field? And that's a problem. So just get them off the field. Or worse yet, did you get the stop you needed? And I didn't. For all the stats, I think there was too many of that. There were too many times where we could really stand to get them off the field here. And even if they eventually did, you flipped field position, right? You went from a plus situation suddenly now, okay, they get into Packer territory and they punch it down to the 10, where it'd be like, hey, they're on their 10. Could we just get them to kick it from the 17? So I think that was an Achilles heel. And then again, there were times when you absolutely needed a stop, and you're like, did you get that stop at a really key point in the game? And I think those are much like they talk about quarterbacks make their money on red zone and 3rd downs. A lot to be said for the defense. And I think that's where we should measure if this team is better on defense and if they're going to be stout enough to be a championship defense.
Well, and I think it's a great point, because one of the things Tausch said about figuring out what this team is going to be, and I used it in a question to Goody or LaFleur, maybe both, is who are the guys going to be when it's 3rd and 7 on both sides of the ball, right? Who are the pass rushers going to be? How are they going to align their corners? Is Edger and Cooper going to be with Quay Walker? Are they going to put Isaiah Simmons in the mix? They seem excited about what he can do. On offense, who are the wide receivers? Are they going to go 2 tight ends, or are they going to go 3 wide? Like, what are they going to do in those situations? And then are those guys going to deliver or not? And I look at, it starts with the quarterback, but it certainly doesn't end with him. So it's a really good point by you. It goes to
complementary football, right? Look at that very first game last year in Brazil. That was pre-tariffs, so I don't know if the score would be different now. If they would have scored 50% more, 50% less. I forget exactly how. It depends on which side, how you do the math.
Hard to follow.
But they get those couple of early turnovers, but they turn them into field goals instead of touchdowns, right? Those are things too. Like when the defense hands you that, when they give you that, then okay, we can't just go, thanks. We'll be favorable. Like you got to really put your foot down and go, okay, let's put this out early. So like in some of those games with the Packers, the Viking game, right? Like let's just take it away from them right away. And so the defense gave them opportunity sometimes, and that's where the offense also has to make good on the back half of that. It's not all strictly defense, because I know complimentary football is a great buzzword now that's going on. That's a great phrase. Everybody loves that. But there's something to be said for that, right? That was dreadful against Philadelphia. You're like, oh, that's going to bite us, and you just know that's going to bite. Right. And lo and behold, most often it does. It's kind of like letting the guy, when the leadoff runner gets on, he usually scores. And when you start, kicking threes, then it's just trouble. Like we have, have you heard of them? The Stableford scoring system in golf? You've heard of that?
I am familiar with it. I don't ask me to try and keep track
That's
of your
fine.
score with
So
your guys at
ESPN,
Whistling Straits using it.
One of our great producers on SportsCenter, John Totten, we've come up with the modified Totten scoring system too, that you cannot, none of your field goals count until you've scored a touchdown. So you kick one, it's there, but we put it in the bank, and if you score a touchdown, then you can have the 3 points back. But you can't just win a game 12-0 by kicking field goals. Yeah, so the whole design is a bit more than that. But the idea is there are too many people kicking field goals, and they're too easy to make. And so now no field goal counts until you get your first touchdown. And then you can start applying kicks.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse, I haven't brought that to the regular boot juice yet, but we'll see if I can get it to the rules committee.
I think Jason just dismissed it very easely.
Great, Jason.
At the clock. It's the same thing that Tausch does. It's when I do that, it's you weren't interested or you didn't want to be part of that. No, it's 10:44, and this is still the segment that normally ends at 10:30, and I got to get to practice. So, without further ado, it's time for trivia. Jesse, what's today's category, and which caller are you and John seeking as I head down to practice?
Missouri Loves Company is today's trivia category. That was pretty good. Questions about Missouri, specifically the University of, with Missouri? John as a... I want to emphasize Missouri because I'm not saying misery. Missouri. Caller 15 sounds good today. Give people a chance. Caller 15.
Caller 15, 844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. Caller 15 plays trivia presented by Vortex Golf with John Anderson and Jesse Nelson.
I hope we know the answer to these, Jesse.
You've got question two. So you got 5 minutes to find
50-50 with them. Yeah. They'll play next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Bringing summer gatherings to the next level is just another thing we do at Celebrations Entertainment. Hi, it's Jeffrey. With rental items like sound equipment, photo booths, and even yard games, you can make your event the party that everyone talks about. Any event like graduation parties, block parties, or even a backyard barbecue can be elevated with fun, interactive items to make everyone ask, hey, how'd you pull this off? Just tell them celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
The UW Credit Union member Mark Tauscher here. People ask me, T, why did you join UW Credit Union? Well, is it to keep your banking local? Is it the member first service? Great perks like early payday? Absolutely. But honestly, between us, it's Bucky. I can't say no to that face. If you love Wisconsin like I do, you just can't pay with anything else. Fandom makes us do crazy things, but this just makes sense. Become a UW Credit Union member and get your Bucky card like me. Federally insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply.
Zimbrick Honda and ESPN Medicine present the Game Changers of the Month, recognizing those in area sports who make a positive impact in their community. Here's Pablo Iglesias with Zimbrick Honda's Game Changers of the Month.
Pablo Iglesias here. Welcome to the ESPN Madison Game Changers of the Month interview, and I'm joined by a special guest, Alec Ingold. With everything that you're doing here, you basically take over Madison for the whole week. You're doing football camps, but you're also doing things beyond that.
We're creating champions beyond the scoreboard. We got a fundraiser out in Tacoma, bringing the community together. We got a financial literacy camp. We call it Money Mini Camp. That's going to be fun. Over at La Follette, plus a little football camp for the kids. Free youth football camp in the Madison area. So Yeah, we're doing it big. We're doing a lot of fun stuff here, and just love to give back to this community so much. Madison's given so much to me with the university and the community, so this is our way of giving back.
Follow ESPN Madison on YouTube and on Facebook for more with the Game Changers of the Month, presented by Zimbrick Honda.
Siding Unlimited is Wisconsin's leader in Pella window installation. In fact, we are Wisconsin's only Pella Platinum Premier Certified contractor, and we've won Pella's prestigious National Contractor of the Year award 5 times. It's easy to get started. The process starts with homeowners meeting us at Siding Unlimited's amazing showroom on 2018 South Stoughton Road in Madison. Trust me, our showroom is a must-see. Looking for new windows, siding, roofing, and doors? Visit us at sidingunlimited.com or stop by our beautiful showroom in Madison.
GRB Academy is baseball for the serious player. Over the past 15 years, GRB has been Wisconsin's top destination for player development and advancement, including over 468 college commitments and 27 MLB draft picks. Their facility in Windsor is the home of GRB Rays baseball and features over 52,000 square feet of elite baseball training. Tryouts for the 2026 summer season begin July 22nd. Find full training programs and register now at grbacademy.com.
When you're in the right place at the right time, things get done. The important things, like knowing what you need and how it all works. Talking truck. Fixing it right the first time. At Zimbrick Chevrolet, our people get it done right and now. That's how you know you're in the right place at the right time. And you'll never overpay at Zimbrick Chevrolet.
This August, guests at Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison are diving into the sea in search of a treasure trove of cash. So come on by and seek your fortune. Starting at 6 p.m. on Saturday, August 30th, 24 winners will each select a cash prize of up to $5,000. Then at 9 p.m., one grand prize winner will swim away with $20,000 in cash. The treasure chest is full, so dive into the fun at
Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison.
We're on the Packers.
This is an enormous season
because we're on Wisconsin sports.
And it's not just for Jordan Love.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
When you tell me I'm a wreck, you say that I'm a mess. How could you expect anything less? You latched onto me, then cried how strong you alone. I told you when you asked, I knew this wouldn't last. At least I could be honest about that.
Wilde and Tausch back with you. Jesse and John Anderson for the time being as Jason Wilde heads down to the sidelines of Packers training camp practice. Share his insights and observations coming up here just a little bit. Jason Wilde live in Green Bay as the Packers get back to practice here this afternoon. The third padded practice of 2025 training camp. So we're holding it down while Jason gets situated. And it is our pleasure to have another first-time contestant for Wilde and Tausch Trivia, which is presented by Vortex Golf.
Wilde and Tausch Trivia is brought to you by Vortex Golf. Rangefinders you can bet on.
It's a big deal, John, when we have a first-time contestant around these parts. We love bringing in, new people to try and play all the time.
Yeah, you need fresh blood. You don't want the guy that's just sitting there waiting to call every time when he comes through.
We like them too. We like the wily old veterans, but in this case, we are really excited. And Jason's going to be disappointed for the second time this week. He's missing out on a first-time contestant. John in Lake Geneva is on with Jesse and John for Wilde and Tausch Trivia, presented by Vortex Golf. John, how you doing?
Doing well. How's everyone doing today there?
Oh, we are wonderful. John, Jason always asks, is this your first time trying to call in for trivia, or have you tried many times and you are finally off the schneid?
Never. Literally my first time trying to call today.
Wow.
Long-term listener, first-time caller.
Wow. Timed it up perfectly.
I guess I got lucky.
Yeah, I would say that's amazing. Well played, John. That's
Great
awesome.
ball.
Okay, so you've got one entry into our drawing, which we will either do with Jim, Matt, and Molly tomorrow, or we're going to do it on Monday, or actually we're at a golf outing Monday, so who knows when we're going to do this drawing for the Vortex swag bag, but we will do the drawing at some point coming up here in the next few days. Missouri Loves Company is today's trivia category, catered to our special guest cousin sub of the day, John Anderson. I will ask question number 1, and it is this. In which city, John, is the University of Missouri located? Here's a hint. It shares its name with another state's capital city. Is the University of Missouri located in Columbia, Trenton, or Oklahoma City?
Trenton.
Oh,
Come
no.
on.
Oh, no. Oh.
Oh, do we look like we're New Jersey or Delaware? There's all kinds of them.
It was Oklahoma City. No, it was Columbia, Missouri is where the University of Missouri is located, John. All right. John Anderson, you have question number 2. Maybe, John's had a good run of luck here. First time ever calling in, and he plays trivia on his first chance ever trying to get in on the game. Maybe he'll pull off what Tausch always says is one of the very rare instances where he gets the first question wrong, which is perceived to be the easy one, and then gets the next 2 right. We'll see if that's the case here. John Anderson has question 2.
I'm going to have to fight through my disappointment both for the city of Columbia, Missouri, and the state capital of South Carolina, Columbia, as well. Question 2. Which of these quarterbacks, this is cold, mostly known as backups for the majority of their careers, did not play at the University of Missouri? So these guys, one of these guys was not a Tiger. Drew Lock, Case Keenum, or Blaine Gabbert?
What do you think, John?
Me, John, or the other John?
Yeah, you, John. This is
I
tricky.
know the answer.
I think John Anderson knows the answer, but we are asking John in Lake Geneva to answer the question.
I'm going to guess Blaine Gabbert.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
By the way, I always refer to Blaine Gabbert as he should have been a Hall of Famer. He got such a bad deal with what they did to him in Jacksonville. Otherwise, that guy's in the Hall of Fame.
And Super Bowl champion, went out on top with the Kansas City Chiefs a couple of years ago before retiring. So,
yep.
Blaine Gabbert, career backup and one of the best to ever do it.
Case Keenum played at the University of Houston.
That is correct.
He's a non-Missouri quarterback.
Well, John in Lake Geneva, getting the first one wrong and the second 2 right is only rarer to getting the first 2 wrong and getting the final question right. I don't know if we've ever had that, so let's see if we can do a Wilde and Tausch first here for trivia presented by Vortex Golf. You got a chance at question number 3. Since 2004, I'm going to ask this one so John Anderson doesn't have to refer to Kansas by any of the very mean nicknames that he's provided for them.
By the way, you spelled it wrong in the question.
I'm not going to ask you how to spell it because I think that's still an FCC violation, depending on what you say. Since 2004, rivalry games played between Kansas and Missouri, most notably in football and men's basketball, have been branded by which of these names? This is according to the Wikipedia page for the rivalry. Is it the Border Showdown, the Apple Cup, or the Bedlam Series?
You can do it.
I'm going to guess Border Showdown.
Border
Showdown
go. Is correct. And a very rare get the first 2 wrong, get the third one right for John in Lake Geneva. The Border Showdown. John in Lake Geneva, just for fun, just to show off. No extra entries here. Do you know who plays the Apple Cup?
No, I do not.
It's Washington and Washington State. And do you know who plays the Bedlam Series?
No, I do not.
John Anderson knows that one, I know. You knew both of these, right?
That is Oklahoma State. I even know who plays for the old Oaken Bucket.
There's some of the Big Ten ones. I went down the rabbit hole as I was trying to come up with some answers for this. And, the old Oaken Bucket, I didn't know they called Nebraska, Iowa, the Heroes Series is now what they call that, apparently. The Heroes
they changed that. They used to call it like Cornageddon or something like that because of all that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great one. The Civil War is in Oregon State. The Holy War is Utah and BYU. I love it. There's tons of them.
A lot of fun ones. Anyway,
Backyard Brawl is West Virginia and Pitt.
Yeah. John in Lake Geneva, you got 1 of the 3 questions right. That means you have 2 of the possible 4 entries for whenever the heck we do that drawing for the Vortex swag bag presented by Vortex Golf. Thanks for playing. Thanks for being a first-time contestant, and even as lucky as you were today, maybe you'll have better fortunes next time.
Well, thanks for having me, and look forward to listening to you all again. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, brother.
John in Lake Geneva, today's contestant for Wilde and Tausch Trivia, presented by Vortex Golf. Jesse Nelson and John Anderson for the time being, but Jason Wilde is getting situated up in Green Bay, where he will host the remainder of the show live in Green Bay as the Packers take to the field for training camp practice number 3 in pads. We will hear from Jason coming up on the other side of this break, but before we do so, we will hear from Mark Tauscher telling us about the ice-cold, refreshing taste of Coors Light. Stick around, it's Wilde and Tausch.
Mark Tauscher here for the Blue Mountains of cold, refreshing Coors Light. Whether you're tailgating pregame, enjoying your experience during the game, celebrating a big win after the game, or you just need a moment to chill, crack open a Rocky Mountain Cold Coors Light. Coors Light is brewed with a 3-step cold process: cold lager, cold filtered, and cold packaged, so it's actually made to chill. The mountains on Coors Light's cold-activated bottles and cans turn blue when chilled to perfection, which, besides the refreshing taste, is my favorite thing about drinking Coors Light. Refreshingly cold and only 102 calories, Coors Light is made to chill. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
We're on the Packers.
There's a lot of guys that have shown they've belonged.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
I don't know if they've shown that they have staying power and that they're really, really good.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
The Bucky Badger Student Mascot Fund was created to support the amazing student athletes who bring the best mascot in the world to life. Hey, my name is Stacy Bruner. I was Bucky Badger from 2010 to 2014. My most memorable sports moment was running out the flag at the 2013 Rose Bowl versus Stanford. Your donation will help fund new scholarships to ensure that the rich tradition of Bucky lives on. Learn more at supportbucky.org. That's supportbucky.org.
You, rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute is brought to you by Steinhoffels. Sleep better with Tempur-Pedic at Steinhoffels. Queen hybrids from $52 per month plus $300 in Steinhoffels cash. Shop now in-store or online.
In for Pablo Iglesias, I'm Jesse Nelson. With a bunch of big-time games looming on the schedule this football season, former Badgers running back Melvin Gordon says there's one in particular he most wants to see Wisconsin win.
You bring the axe home. I don't care about nothing else. I don't care about any other game. We need to bring that axe back home, or we're going to continue to be on the edge. If we lose every game and win that one, I'll be like, okay, we got hope.
Find Melvin Gordon's full appearance on Jim, Matt, and Molly on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
For windows with the strongest resilience, you need the Pella experience. Get 0% interest for up to 5 years if you order by July 31st at PellaWI.com.
Mark Tauscher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison. Hey, this is Jeff Levering with the Brewers Radio Network, and I've got a question for you. Is your home ready to shine this season? Whether it's roofing, siding, or windows, Ridgetop Exteriors is the name you can trust. For over 20 years, Ridgetop Exteriors has been Wisconsin's favorite for roofing, and they bring that same expertise to siding and windows. Imagine vibrant, low-maintenance siding and energy-efficient windows that brighten your home while cutting energy costs. Ridgetop Exteriors holds all expert-level installation credentials with the leading manufacturers, including Pella, James Hardy Fiber Cement Siding, and LP Smart Side Engineered Wood Siding. With thousands of 5-star reviews and a commitment to excellence, they're the clear choice for home improvement needs. Plus, consultations and estimates are always free, so there's no reason to wait. Call Ridgetop Exteriors today or visit ridgetopexteriors.com to schedule your free consultation. Ridgetop Exteriors, putting customers first every time.
Ridgetop Exteriors is the place for you.
Staying on Wisconsin sports never stops with the Jump Around podcast.
So the complaints that former Badger players had and fans had was that there's no connective tissue from the old Badgers to these Badgers. Bringing back J.J. Watt, when Monte Ball told us that Jeff Grimes texted all the running backs, like, that's what moves the needle for me. Reconnect Wisconsin football of old to Wisconsin football now.
The Jump Around podcast with Jim Rutledge and Pablo Iglesias. Streaming live every Thursday at 12:30 on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you.
Fans, here is the Quick Trip to the Ballpark ticket offer. Spend $200 at participating Quick Trip locations and get a free Terrace Reserve ticket to a 2025 Milwaukee Brewers home game. Check brewers.com/quicktrip for more details.
Join UW Credit Union at uwcu.org. Insured by NCUA.
We're on the Badgers.
Team's in a good spot. Culture's in a really good spot.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
And now it's just about, hey, can you get back to that bowl game and hopefully get one or two of those marquee ones.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Hold on, I don't wanna know what it's like when you're gone. I don't wanna move on. I don't wanna know what it's like when you're gone for good. You're slipping through my fingertips. A little bit, by a little bit. I didn't know the love of you.
Sounded like a bit of a tough go of it in trivia there. Husky. So, and two Johns. It's one too many Johns, if you ask me. Hard to keep track of, but you figured it out. And we got the last question right. So at least John in Lake Geneva has that going for him, which is nice.
It's nice.
John Anderson is our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. Packers practice well underway here. Helmets and shorts for today. But it'll be interesting to see what the tenor of practice is, John, because as we talked about earlier in the show, this whole discussion of physicality and an emphasis on it, I do wonder if going shoulder pads with shorts is an effort to scale back the physical nature. When you're in full pads, you got the football pants on and the pads in your football pants, and you're thinking, hey, this is just like game conditions. Maybe this is I don't know. Am I wrong to think that this is Matt LaFleur's way of getting them to still be sort of physical, but not quite as physical as they've been, causing trouble for certain players?
Dialing back a little. What I found strange is in this, and I get that sometimes they get chippy with each other, but it's usually not on day 1 or 2, right? It's usually a couple weeks into camp where they get tired of each other, and then they have to go to Indianapolis and have joint practices. That one is that they're after each other this early and being apparently angry with each other and ornery with each other is a bit of surprise. But yeah, maybe. He's trying to dial back, but again, I would think that's odd that if you're trying to build this culture, we gave you 2 days, and I'm like, okay, we gotta put the kibosh to this now. Like those seem to me those would be mixed messages.
It would be, and I would say this too. Like my recollections of Mike Holmgren and my longtime mentor Tom Mulhern. Was so good. He, for some reason, he had a knack for predicting when Mount Holmgren would erupt. And he like it was before practice. It just today feels like the day. You could see he was frustrated with some stuff yesterday. And going back to what we were saying about coaches yelling and stuff, like he wasn't a huge yeller. He was certainly willing to yell, but there was always he would reach that breaking point in camp, and then the eruption would come. And Matt LaFleur does not usually do that, but obviously we had that at the last practice with Rasheed Walker. The players had the day off yesterday, so it'll be interesting to see what today's practice does look like. And again, they're still wearing their shoulder pads, so there's still going to be some collisioning. If that might be a Tausch word, that's not really a word, but it will not be to the same degree.
I used to think physicality was a word that Kurt Herbstreit made up, but apparently I looked it up. Apparently it was first used in 1827, but for the longest time I thought physicality was just a made-up television word. But apparently
Corso was the first one to use it.
whatever it was, I'm like, I don't think that that's really a word, but it turns out it was maybe not used a bunch, and now it's everywhere when it comes to. What's the word? Do you have a recollection? I always love to lean on you for your years of experience here. Do you have a camp fight that you just remember where it was just a Donnybrook guys just were separated and just was ugly?
So I don't know if I can recall one where things got really, really bad. Like there are times where it's gone longer than you expected it to. Yeah. So Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph, is that what it was?
Right.
Or Aaron Donald did that in the practice, I think, too. The stories that I remember clearest are the ones when we're in the locker room when we were in there. So one was a fight and one was an almost fight. The almost fight was when Kabir Baja Biamila confronted a teammate who he knew was having an affair and informed the teammate that he intended to tell said teammate's wife about it if he didn't tell him himself. To which said teammate replied, "If you do that, I am going to gouge your blanking eyes out." And I thought there was going to be a pretty serious fight in the doorway to the showers. Cooler heads prevailed. The other one, Vaughn Booker, was a defensive lineman that they picked up from Cincinnati in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I don't know who the other combatant was. What I do remember is I was standing in that area of the locker room and the fight began and Santana Dotson grabbed me by the shirt and pulled me out of the way right before I would have been just trucked by the two of them getting after it. Like, it's one of my favorite locker room stories. That and the Antonio Freeman demonstrating how to get off press man coverage and grabbing and twisting and pulling my arms and pushing my shoulders while he was wearing nothing but a jock strap. Those are my two top 10 interactions in the locker room.
Were you like Darren Baker and JT Snow just ripped you out of the way?
Yes. I mean, the way he I mean, it was like by the back of the shirt collar, because I had my back to, like, it was going past his locker, and he grabbed me and pulled me into his locker kind of at a 45-degree angle. And I'm like, what? And of course, Santana, we all know Gilbert Brown was the gravedigger, but Santana was no small fella. That defensive line in 96 was so good because of him, and obviously a certain guy named Reggie White and Sean Jones as well. But he grabbed me, and I can tell you this: he's a strong dude now. I'm sure he's still a strong dude even now in his 50s. But he, I don't know if he saved my life, but he certainly saved me from probably a broken leg or something, because they would have gone right into me. And two 300-pound guys getting after it in the locker room. I'm not going to be able to compete and handle that. So yeah, those are the stories. But no, fights are so few and far between these days. The thing with Rasheed Walker the other day, that felt like kind of a rarity. So it's just not something that back in the 90s and early 2000s. I'm sure Tausch has a fight story or two, but it's been a long time since we saw a big one. But hey, the way this camp is going, we could see it before the end of the show.
So just to confirm, you got stuffed in a locker and you were very thankful for it.
I don't know about stuffed, pulled into. Then they were very wide, so I wasn't like, when you got stuffed into a locker at Muskego High School, it was very cramped, right? Not that you would know how that felt, but others
pre-Madison weight loss, yeah.
So yeah, no, it was, Santana, thank you for your service. We'll kick off the 11 o'clock hour with John Anderson, our Cousin Sub of the Day. Cousin Subs, we believe in better. In 2 minutes, it's Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
The search for luxury begins at Audi Madison. Save $5,500 when you purchase or lease a new 2025 Audi Q7 55. National customer credit is good toward the purchase, finance, or lease of a new Audi, but is only available until July 30th. Why drive something ordinary when you can drive something extraordinary? Stop in and test drive today. Check out AudiMadison.com to see current inventory and specials. Start your adventure at Audi Madison today, off the Beltline and Rimrock Road.
This is former Wisconsin linebacker Chris Orr. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison, a good Karma Brands radio station on Wisconsin.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson, Sports Center, brought to you by the ESPN Wisconsin app, home to all your favorite ESPN Wisconsin shows at the touch of a fingertip. Plus, find featured content, enter contests, and more. Your state, your teams, your ESPN. Download the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple and Android app stores today. MLB trade deadline day, 5 o'clock Central Time this afternoon, the 2025 MLB trade deadline. What will the Milwaukee Brewers do, if anything? I'll tell you what they won't do, and that's acquire Arizona Diamondbacks third baseman Eugenio Suarez. He is off the board. The Seattle Mariners acquiring Suarez in a trade late last night, first reported by ESPN's Jeff Hafley. Plenty of other things to keep an eye on throughout the course of the day. Keep it locked right here for the latest deadline developments on Madison's home of the Brewers, 100.5 ESPN. At the trade deadline, the Brewers still with the best record in baseball, 20 games over 500 at 64-44. Even with a loss to the Cubs yesterday afternoon, the Brewers still one game up on the rival Cubs for the top spot in the NL Central and the best record in the league. Wilde and Tausch with Jason Wilde live in Green Bay as the Packers practice next.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
The 11 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch with John Anderson as our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. Little routes on air going on right now with the offense at this end of the field. John, you mentioned this in our very extensive pre-show correspondence. So is today the day that ESPN does the Ocho, which used to carry in dodgeball, the dodgeball matches with Jason Bateman on the color commentary?
Yeah, but now it's this full-on kind of 3-day extravaganza of events on ESPN2 that just screams that there's not a lot going on and we're putting baseball on ESPN regular. And that we're going to put some of the most absurd things possible on ESPN2 and see people watch it, and they will, which is crazy.
So you obviously were there when they started doing this, and the joke about the Ocho in that movie, which I love that movie, by the way, is that they put dodgeball on their 8th channel. They don't actually have 8 channels, but I got to be honest, there's some things that are now on with the regular programming that have become popular that you would have made that joke about not that long ago, right? They have cornhole.
Cornhole's on all the time.
That they show. Right.
Cornhole
they have
big.
Pickleball. Yeah. So
Sometimes you get,
I don't want to be too dismissive.
Ball makes an appearance once in a while.
I think I saw wiffle ball once, which I actually enjoyed. Seems very hard to hit the ball the way those pitchers can bring it, though.
That's back, but now there's some absurd stuff. Like there's goat racing. Wow, we missed the goat racing. That was at 10:30 this morning. I can't believe we were wasting our time doing this program when we could have been watching goat racing.
I'm
Talk about Talk about regrets for a wasted life.
I'm scrolling through right now on the TV in our studio here to see what's on tonight. National Ball Hockey League is on at 8 o'clock.
The Corgi races are coming up at 11:30.
Yep, Corgi races tonight.
Corgi races.
Well, we're going to
the
lose
Golden-
some listenership now.
The National
the Golden-
Putting Tour, which sounds that's like mini golf. That sounds fun.
The Golden Tee World Championships are coming on. That's exciting. This is a repeat. But if you're
brother still competing?
He might be. Jonathan Bruss might be in that World Championship for Golden Tee.
So because it's hard to program for 24 hours, sometimes you got to go to the greatest hits and the reruns early in the morning. So at 3 a.m. this morning, the Wisconsin Auctioneers Championship from 2023.
Wow.
That's going to be fantastic. Set your DVRs or TV, whatever you do now. And that's followed by the USA Mullet Championships, which
I beg your pardon.
fantastic. Live stuff, we're going to have Highlight, which we love. Bubblegum blowing, like who doesn't think they could win that? I could right now. Goodyear Blimp Sky Racing. I mean, how are you?
Last week at EAA, they were flying around in there. Yeah.
How can you stay away from this?
Battle of the Buoy 2 sounds fun. Pro doubles teams fight to stay afloat in New York City for a chance to hoist the coveted Golden Buoy.
I don't know what the Donk Toss World Championships is, but that feels like maybe it has some livestock in it or something that would be, usually a pay-per-view item. But yeah, it's just a freestyle chess. It's just a smorgasbord of great things.
What is freestyle chess? And then I have a follow-up question about one of the other programming items. What does that mean?
Yeah.
I don't understand. You play like checkers. Every piece can do whatever the heck it wants. What is that?
I don't know, because there's also speed chess. So I don't know exactly how.
At least I know what that means.
Just untimed. Yeah, everyone gets to take as long as they want in freestyle.
Freestyle, you can just go wherever you want. I guess I have no idea what it is. The outhouse races. I know what that is. That's easy enough to figure out. But. And listen, they're 100. You talked about the best record in the majors with the Brewers at 64-44. That's 108 games of baseball. Take a day off. We don't have to watch baseball all the time. Like baseball can be boring at a game 110 in the season. So go ahead, watch some outhouse racing, people. Get some variety in your life.
Or go back on ESPN Plus and find the Wisconsin Auctioneers. And was Homer in that? He could. Homer could have been in two of these things. He could have been in the goat races because he's a goat, and he could have been on the auctioneer competition. I have to find archive video that I really want to see what the heck that is.
Yeah, well, set at 3 a.m. Have the kids back home work the magic talking box to record that for you, and then you can see it.
And the T-Rex World Championships, depending on what that is, he might have called that back in the day. I'm not sure.
Oh, nice. Well played. All right, practice rolls on at Ray Nitschke Field. We'll talk a little bit about Bo Melton and something that Rich Bisaccia said yesterday about him. Coming up next with John Anderson, our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better as Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
The UW Credit Union member Mark Tauscher here. People ask me, T, why did you join UW Credit Union? Well, is it to keep your banking local? Is it the member first service? Great perks like early payday? Absolutely. But honestly, between us, it's Bucky. I can't say no to that face. If you love Wisconsin like I do, you just can't pay with anything else. Fandom makes us do crazy things, but this just makes sense. Become a UW Credit Union member and get your Bucky card like me. Federally insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply.
Hold your friends close and your rivals closer on Jim, Matt, and Molly.
Okay, great idea. Ryan, you're going to be all in on this. Chrissy, you too, right? We have a steak cook-off, and then us three get to decide who is the better steak maker.
Matt can make the meal, I can make the drinks. So I was a bartender more than anything else.
Okay.
I'm in for that.
Make me a sick mocktail.
Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light. Weekdays 4 to 6 on 100.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Madison on YouTube.
Join the Madison Money Guy, Christian Finfrock, for Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Get the information you need as you plan for retirement. That's Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Income Strategies, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
Since J&K Security Solutions opened in 1987, our attention to detail and customer service have been our strongest assets. I'm President Jeffrey Beckman. We'll always do our best to find the most efficient and cost-effective solution to every job we tackle. Whether it's security for your home or business, installing video surveillance, or being able to control your garage doors from your phone, we can help you feel empowered with simple and user-friendly technology. Let's work together to secure your home or business. jksecurity.com.
ESPN Madison and Zimbrick Honda are celebrating the area's best high school sports stories with the Game Changers of the Month. Follow ESPN Madison on social media to see the teams recognized for making a positive impact in the community. It's the Game Changers of the Month, presented by Zimbrick Honda.
From the biggest stars to the greatest moments, Behind the Bucks is Bucks history like you've never heard it before. It's all on Behind the Bucks on the Bucks Plus Audio Network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the new ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Summer is here, and there's no better way to celebrate than with Door County Distillery. Hey, it's Alex Stroh. I've been telling you for years how great Door County Distillery is. Locally produced, handcrafted, and award-winning spirits made locally in beautiful Door County. The sun is shining, and so can the Rock Island Rum from Door County Distillery in your summertime cocktail. Otherwise, vodkas, gins, whiskeys, brandies, and more, it's all available from the award-winning Door County Distillery. Find a huge list of unique cocktail recipes and the retailer nearest you, doorcountydistillery.com. That's doorcountydistillery.com.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here. American Family Insurance can help protect your dream home for whatever comes next. You can live in your own oasis or your own clubhouse. Whatever you choose, get the right coverage. Save up to 23% by bundling home and auto. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI and its operating companies. 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
Continuing with John Anderson as our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. Doing some one-on-ones now at this end of the field, and the fans are into it. So I had this conversation with Jen, Gabe, and Chewy this morning, or more accurately, Jen and Gabe. No Chewy today, but be sure to check out the podcast on the ESPN Wisconsin app. But John Anderson, I am a big believer in you have to acknowledge your biases. I find myself thinking back to some people who held themselves up to be paragons of ethics, and as I found out more and more about them on this beat, they were unethical. And I just don't. I don't ever want to be viewed that way, and I never want to be viewed as someone who, has biases that he's not willing to acknowledge. And so I have them. including for the guy who just broke up a pass against Romeo Dobbs, and that is Bo Melton. So I really like Bo. I said this on our show earlier in the week. I think he's the kind of guy you want on your football team. I think you don't need him to be your number one wide receiver, nor do you want him to be your number one wide receiver, but you need players like him to have the kind of culture that you want to have as a team and the connectivity and the chemistry. And I'll tell you what, there is not a guy watching him interact for the last 3 years. There's not a guy in that locker room that doesn't like the guy. And on top of that, he's a really good special teams player. And so I've done this long enough and I said this to Bisaccia yesterday, you'll hear it in a second. When they move you to a different position, that's usually an intermediate move before they move you off the roster. and I don't want, because I said this from the minute this happened during the mini camp. I said it to Tausch, and Tausch, as he always does, got after me a little bit, rightfully so, that saying, hey, look, we know how much you love Bo Melton, so maybe you're looking at this as, oh, he's so valuable they have to find a different place to put him on the depth chart. Well, I want you to hear what Rich Bisaccia said, because while I acknowledge my bias about him, I also think it's not mutually exclusive that I can be biased and be right about him having a role on this team and making this team, no matter what the abbreviation, whether it's WR or CB next to him on his roster spot, says. Here's that discussion with Rich Bisaccia.
Rich, how important is he to what you guys do? I mean, a lot of times when guys move positions in this league, it's a move that's an intermediate move to them not being on a roster anymore. It doesn't feel like that's the case with him.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when he has to play the flyer outside for us, he's expected to make a tackle. And when he plays the 2 or the 4 for us on kickoff, he's expected to make a tackle. So for him, flipping over and playing corner now, the tackling part, he's kind of head down, right? He's in all the tackling drills that we do. Obviously, he's working on the skill set and the techniques and the fundamentals you need to play the different coverages and the different things that they want on defense. But I think because of the makeup of Bo Melton, who he is and his personality, his attitude, the transition has become not easy, but just acceptable. And in his mind, he's going to get better every day. I think if you ask him, he did a lot of work with his brother, in the offseason because he knew this could possibly happen. He played both sides in the spring. So we're excited that we have him, regardless of what side of the ball he's on, and he's going to be an impact on our team.
He's going to be an impact on our team, John. We know that based on some of the players they've kept, that the special teams coordinator has some sway with personnel. Not saying he's making all the decisions, but it's clear that Goody listens to him in some way. When he says he's going to be an impact on our team, you have to be on the team to be an impact on the team.
Right.
That's him talking as if he's going to be here, right? Am I wrong to view it that way?
Yeah. No, not at all. What I find curious, and I don't know why they designate it, that we have to designate him wide receiver, you have to designate him cornerback in that position because there's a special teams roster spot at the Pro Bowl, right? So why can't you list him as ST and just say there is, that's his duty. And then if he's going to play a snap on third down because you need 7 guys, or he's going to be the 8th defensive back, like why can't you just put that in there? Here's the guy. This is his value. This is where we're going to use him. And he's Bo Melton. He's number 16 and he's ST. Like, what prevents somebody from doing that? Why do we have to, why are we hung up on this completion thing? I don't know. I mean, it sounds to me like that's his role. Okay, so let's just say, here's his role. He's on special teams. He's our guy. And that's enough. That's how he's going to make the team because we value that.
Yeah, I think the only reason would be he's got to do something when it's not a special teams period, right? And so you put him at corner, so he's working on his tackling and that stuff because that's going to be the stuff that he's going to be doing. But you're right. I mean, it's more of that was my point, is it's just a designation for the depth chart because you got to put his name somewhere because, I mean, put him as the backup long snapper then, right? Because what you really are interested in is you're really just interested in having him on the team, which again, my bias says that's smart. and we'll see. Because look, the other part of this equation, though, John, and I think it's the reality is that no matter how I feel about Bo Melton, the person, the fact is after adding Savion Williams and after adding Matthew Golden, they've got more wide receivers than they know what to do with, and a number of them are better than Bo Melton, the wide receiver. Even though Bo was the first one to have a 100-yard game during the 23 season, even though he can play wide receiver in this league, they've got other guys that they think are better, and they're right. They are better. So they got to figure out a place to keep him. And I'll say this, the corner position, that is not the problem at the corner position. They don't have enough guys at the corner position. So if you had to find a place to hide him, so to speak, on the roster or on the depth chart, that's definitely the place to put him.
So what is it about him aside from ability? What is it you like about him? What does he show that he's the guy in the room or in the locker room that people, I don't know if gravitates to him is the right word, but as you discussed it, what is it about him that makes him valuable beyond just the number of snaps he gets?
Well, first of all, you always know, those guys that, and maybe you've got some in your group that signed the print of Whistling Straits behind you. There are those guys that just have that. They have it, right? They have that personality. Like Charles Woodson was the coolest guy in whatever room he walked into, but he was also a little intimidating. Like, there are certain people that they just have this ability to make you feel like you're their best friend, and they've got like 30 people that feel that way, right? And I think Bo's got that, for one. For two, like, I'll give you an example even yesterday. So, like, they play this game that I cannot even begin to express how bad I would be at it. You make a motion, you're standing face to face with a player, and yesterday, when I looked over, Bo was serving as the arbiter, the referee of it. It was McCole Hardman and I want to say Micah Robinson. And you stand face to face with each other, like like you would for like a photo op for promoting a boxing match. Yep. And you're face to face with each other, and then you take turns and you make a movement pointing in a direction, up, down, left, right. And the person that is on the receiving end all they have to do is look a different direction than the one you pointed. So if you point up, as long as you look down, left, right, you win the point. But try it sometime, you and your son, when he gets up and he's not playing the piano, try it sometime. When someone points, you want to look the way he's pointing. So it's harder than it sounds. And they play it all the time. And I turned to Bo while I was watching, like, new locker room, same games. He's like, yep. And the ping pong table, where he is the master, by the way, is just in the next room over. And so it's just that it's hard to put your finger on. But by the way, he's also a really, really good special teams player. And one of the things about being constructed the way these guys are and bringing young guys in all the time, first of all, let's be honest, guys that get drafted, most of them are at the point in their careers in college where they're not playing special teams, right? So you don't have a bunch of guys that are adept special teams guys. And the way they're building rosters now, you're changing that over so quickly that's got to be tough for Rich Bisaccia. He lost one of his rocks with Eric Wilson who was really good for them last year, and also filled in at linebacker. So Bo Melton has a role not just because he's lovable, it's also because he does that. If he was a crappy special teams player, they don't give a damn how likable he is. Sure. They could go put him have him work in the pro shop. And the customer service would go through the roof because he'd be great with people and sales would increase, but it's about more than that. All right, we need to get to Wone Nelly. I'm sorry, John. I didn't mean to cut you off. I can't see you since I'm at practice.
No worries. No. I was just backing up. You're right. No matter how nice you guy, there's a production element that will always trump everything in the NFL.
And he has, in fairness to him, he has produced a wide receiver, which if somehow they get down at wide receiver or get down at corner, and he's obviously going to be active on game days because of his special teams, that they do save a roster spot. And he was the first one to say, I am not Travis Hunter. So among all the other qualities Bo Melton has, he also has self-awareness, which we like. We will get to Whoa Nelly. Jesse already has shared his incredible interaction with Pat Murphy, but maybe he'll revisit that and more during Whoa Nelly. That's next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Mark Tusher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
The sound of summaries on ESPN Madison.
The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Madison's home of the Brewers.
Mizorowski deals. Struck him out. A heater at 101.
Catch every Milwaukee Brewers game this season on 100.5 ESPN.
Back and watching it sail. It's a grand slam.
Brewers baseball on ESPN Madison is presented by Hard Rock Casino Rockford and brought to you by Starion Bank and Sinden Chevy in Mount Horeb.
It's always a beautiful experience coming out to the ballpark. Many fans prep in the parking lot amongst our legendary tailgaters. When you're ready for new windows and doors, prep for those at the Pella Experience Center in Brookfield. See, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of window and door options from different Pella lines side by side. And if you order by July 31st, get 0% interest for up to 5 years on Blue Mountain Road or visit PellaWI.com today.
ESPN Madison is proud to partner with Mentoring Positives for our 3rd annual ESPN Madison Open. Mentoring Positives is a nonprofit based right here in Madison and is dedicated to uplifting youth and families through mentoring, athletics, and youth entrepreneurship. As a trusted presence in the community, Mentoring Positives has been helping young people build confidence, leadership, and purpose for 20 years. They're changing lives right here in our community. Visit mentoringpositives.org to make your impact today. That's mentoringpositives.org.
Chevy trucks have you covered when the road takes you from smooth sailing to Chevy Colorado will eat up some of the toughest terrains with 5 available drive modes. And Silverado and Silverado HD have the muscle to take you out for some serious with multiple engine options and impressive towing. While Silverado EV is the perfect combo of performance and capability. Nice. Making it a snap to hitch up this electric truck and hit the road. Wherever the road leads, Chevy trucks are right there with you. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Summer is here, and your taste buds deserve the best. Carbless is perfect for the pool, the lake, or hanging out by the fire. Full of flavor with 0 sugars, only 100 calories, and made with premium spirits. Don't just settle for something overly carbonated and those flavorless seltzers. Carbless has full flavor with every sip, not just a hint. So when you're ready to take a drink and ready to chill, Carbless is clean, crisp, and won't leave you feeling bloated. Find your bliss today at drinkcarbless.com.
The Bucky Badger Student Mascot Fund was created to support the amazing student athletes who bring the best mascot in the world to life. Hey, my name is Stacy Bruner. I was Bucky Badger from 2010 to 2014. My most memorable sports moment was running out the flag at the 2013 Rose Bowl versus Stanford. Your donation will help fund new scholarships to ensure that the rich tradition of Bucky lives on. Learn more at supportbucky.org. That's supportbucky.org.
You love choices.
Like your choices with a Sweeto metal roof.
Choose standing seam or high-profile steel shingles that come in a variety of styles that last a lifetime.
Put a Sweeto metal roof on and take the worry off with choices.
I'm Mike.
And Mary Sweeto. Enjoy the long-lasting architectural strength and beauty of a Sweeto metal roof.
SWITA metalroofing.com.
Sweeto metal roofing, the last roof you'll ever need.
We're on the Badgers.
The schedule, as we all know, it's very challenging, daunting, however you want to describe it.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
He wants guys who want to jump at the opportunity to play against a schedule like that.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
catchy little tune, Jesse, and a lead-in to everyone's favorite portion of the program, or at least Jesse's parents, Won't Ellie.
If the topic is good, the guys discuss.
Just the other morning I had breakfast at Tracy Rocker's house. His mama brought out 15 flapjacks. He said, Mama, take back 5 of them flapjacks. I gotta stay hungry for the Crimson Tide.
But if it's not, the show must go on. It's time for
Whoa, Nelly!
On Wilde and Tausch.
The MLB trade deadline is at 5 o'clock Central Time this afternoon. And your guy, Jason, is off the board for the Milwaukee Brewers. Eugenio Suarez.
AU going to Seattle.
That is correct. Overnight traded to the Seattle Mariners. A couple of bullpen upgrades for the New York Mets. The Brewers added a backup catcher from Appleton West High School, Danny Jansen, earlier this week. I don't think the Brewers are going to make any other moves today, but I'm just a front-running media member. John Anderson, do you feel if the Brewers do not make any changes today before the trade deadline, as the best record in baseball, they are still well-positioned to make a postseason run?
Yes, they have. All you see, for the most part, Suarez, I guess, was standing. Everybody wants pitching, more pitching, more pitching. And the only thing the Brewers have to trade away is pitching, if they want. There's no big bat that's worth any of the pitchers they'd have to shelve or send away. Let's just stay pitching rich, even if it means I have to be a little hitting poor. I'd rather be that way than try to win in the postseason, winning games 8-7. I think you got a better chance of winning postseason games 4-3 and 3-2. I wouldn't do anything. I'd stay there, and there's no value. There's no bat to be had for the value that they'd have to spend. So keep the frontline guys, because if not this year, something's going to happen next year. Somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get traded away in the offseason. Keep the pitchers. It's the most valuable thing. Keep the arms. That's simple.
Jason, how many times have we talked about the Packers say, they're one trade away from having a chance to compete for a Super Bowl? And I feel like that same narrative has now shifted for a lot of folks who are talking about the Milwaukee Brewers this season. What do you say to that?
Jesse, I'm not going to lie. Laura Rose and Heidi from Associated Bank just were here, and so I was busy talking to them. I didn't listen to that segment at all. No, great. I did. I heard John. I'm kidding, but I did. It was great to see them. They're obviously such great partners and supportive of our show. Look, I am a child of the 1982 Brewers. I love the Just a Bit Outside film. Don Sutton, without Don Sutton, they don't get to the World Series, right? You see that in that film. So those types of trades, that and Sabathia. But you know what makes those special is that those guys were freaking studs. They're both Hall of Famers, right? And so I was leery all along, Jesse, of, and as much as I love saying Eugenio, as I sounded out phonetically, I was leery all along about giving up things that, when you are what the Brewers are, that you give up a guy that you end up down the road going, well, Eugenio hit 8 home runs for us, and we checked out in the division series, and we gave up this guy, and he ends up being, a stud for someone else. It would have been I keep thinking back to what Jeff Passan said to us that day, and that was that they may be one bat away, but those bats might not be out there or worth the trade value, right? And so I don't know, Jesse, the bats that they suddenly have in the lineup, and I mean, I don't know, I feel really good about them. I really do. I understand that they lost because you were there.
Yeah.
But some of the recent developments with guys that have come up and made an impact, I'm sorry. I'm going to choose to believe that that's going to be good enough.
There's an argument to be made that with some of these advanced metrics you can dive into, the Brewers lead the league in infield hits, and they are a bit streaky when it comes to scoring runs, where they can go a couple of games where they get shut out or they score one and they're losing games they can't score in, and then they can score 8-9 runs and whatever. Like, what I say to that is they lead the league in infield hits. They also are one of the best teams at stolen bases. Maybe they're just fast. Like, maybe they can just hit with the shift gone, maybe they can just hit the ball where some of the defenders aren't, and they can leg out a single and steal second base and score a run. Like, that's production in baseball. Like, it's okay if that's how they're scoring runs. I'm okay with where they're at.
So, Jesse, you obviously you know this team better than I do. I'm curious.
4 games.
Yeah, front-running media member.
Exactly. Is it possible? And again, I don't want to put too much on him, but is it possible that Andrew Vaughn is the guy? Like, he's their big acquisition, and they didn't even have to acquire him per se?
Yeah,
is that possible?
A couple of articles this week, and it came up with when they acquired Danny Jansen the other day. And so, okay, is this the move they're going to make? Are they really not going to do that? They made a trade for Quinn Priester in like the first week of the season because they didn't have anybody to start pitching. And Quinn Priester, they've won 11 straight games that he's started. He's got 9 of the 11 wins. They traded for Andrew Vaughn, who's hitting at a Barry Bonds-like clip since he's joined the Brewers. Like, it's unreal what those two guys have done. And are they going to be that good forever? Maybe not, but maybe. Like, those are the kinds of moves that teams at the trade deadline would hope to make and have a difference maker that propels your team forward and gets you over the hump. They've done that already this season when they were desperate and needed to because of injuries and whatever else. So I think they're well assembled. I agree with John. For how many times have the Brewers in this golden age of Brewers baseball made the playoffs and we've felt good about the lineup but not so good about the pitching? And that's when they struggle in the first round. 2018, you felt good about the pitching. They made it to Game 7 of the NLCS. 2011, you felt good about the pitching, made it to Game 6 of the NLCS. So this might be the best we've ever felt about the pitching. Let's let the lineup be what it is. It's not like they're awful. It's not like they're terrible at hitting the baseball. They're a little streaky sometimes, but I'll roll the dice with what they have.
Whoa, Nelly! Whoa, Nelly! What's next, Jesse?
Just for John Anderson, I want to bring this up. This will be our last topic of the day here.
Oh, dear.
In Whoa, Nelly. The Wisconsin Badgers football team is projected to finish 12th in the Big Ten. The Missouri Tigers football team is projected to finish 12th in the SEC. If you had to put your stock in one of the teams, John, and I think this will say more about Wisconsin one way or the other for our fans, where are you going to buy stock? The Wisconsin Badgers or the Missouri Tigers picked to finish in the bottom half of their respective leagues?
So I don't know as much about what Coach Fickle's got going over there. I know he's like Missouri, like it's all, can they find a functional quarterback? Of course, I've said that about the Badgers for 25 years, except for the 1 year since Bevel and the 1 year of
Russell Wilson. Yeah.
Russell Wilson. I feel like the Badgers have been quarterbacked by the same person every year. Doesn't matter. Pick one ball.
Some variation of Mike Samuel. Yes.
All the same guy. They've had the same guy for 30 years since Bevel left, except for the 1 year with Russell Wilson. And then there were two Hail Marys.
And that one Graham Mertz game against Illinois during the COVID season.
Right, and he was going to be great, and then look where that went. Anyway.
Only person that would see Ed Policy and be on the radio instead of saying hello. That's me.
There you go. By the way, so I got my pack. I'm going to interject real quick because I got my Packer season ticket holder package, whatever. I look at it, and it's the first piece of mail I've gotten from the Packers that was signed by Ed Policy. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's not Mark Murphy's signature there. I don't know. It's just a strange mark of the transition that finally you're like, oh, I guess this is how I'm affected. He now signs the stuff that they get sent in the mailers.
So I stand at the far end of the field, which is where the gate is, and avid listeners to the show know that I have worked the gate on multiple occasions for people who didn't know how to get in or out. But I stand here. I'm removed from everyone because I don't want to have people trying to watch practice standing next to me listening to half of a radio show because they can't hear you They just hear me, and that would be annoying, right? So I stand down here all by my lonesome, and everyone else, the Domofskys and the Schneidmans, the Pete Dohertys, everybody's down there. But it's fascinating because people come over, like Heidi and Laura Rose from Associated Bank come over, and they know what I'm doing. So they're like kind of whispering, like, "Hey, how are you?" And then I hit mute, I give them a hug, I tell them it's great to see them, and then they go on their way. Other people come up, it's like they have no concept of what the hell I'm doing. And if you're talking, I just look like a guy standing with headphones in. So they start talking to me. But Ed comes in, and he knew right away what I was doing. So he goes to give me a fist bump. I do an awkward, I'm doing the same thing, but I'm doing handshakes. So he shakes hands. He's like, "Are you on the air?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then as he started to walk away, that was when I said, only person in this entire place that sees Ed Policy and tells him, "Sorry, I can't talk." And he responded with, "Do your job," which I appreciate. Go. So
what are you doing to help us win the Super Bowl today?
Exactly. I'm talking about the Ball King. That's how I'm helping the club.
This seems, I don't want to say anything inappropriate, but this seems like an improvement from a couple of the interactions you had doing the show on the sidelines compared to someone else who would walk by.
Or would walk into the Hudson Center to just avoid me completely. Yes, that's definitely true. Very fair assessment, Jesse.
We got to get the Chippewa Falls.
That would be his predecessor who did not appreciate my question in a press conference about the structure and asking him, what makes you qualified to make the decision on the next head coach instead of letting the GM do it the way it's been done under Ted Thompson and Ron Wolf for the past 30 years.
There you go.
He did not like that, and he never forgave me for it.
And sometimes
we went out on a good note, though. He and I had a good talk before he called it a career. So I'm sure next time he sees me, he'll go not quite as far to avoid me.
That's good. That's good. By the way, to circle back, Wisconsin people will be more angry if they finish 12th. Missouri people, they'll over-deliver, but they're fatalistic. They think, 12th isn't 16th. We'll take that. And since we play KU for the first time in umpteen years, if they go 1-11 and beat KU, people will be like, "Good year. We're fine with that."
Well,
nice.
I know how I'll be rooting for in that one, and it isn't Missouri. All right, we need to wrap things up. We'll do that next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The ESPN Wisconsin app. Customizable just to you. Find the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores today.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
You, rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute is brought to you by Bruner Realty, providing excellent real estate and property management services in the Madison area for over 30 years. Contact their team at BrunerRealtyInc.com to get housed today.
In for Pablo Iglesias, I'm Jesse Nelson. With a bunch of big-time games looming on the schedule this football season, former Badgers running back Melton Gordon says there's one in particular he most wants to see Wisconsin win.
You bring the axe home. I don't care about nothing else. We need to bring that axe back home, or we're going to continue to be on the edge. If we lose every game and win that one, I'll be like, okay, we got hope.
Find Melvin Gordon's full appearance on Jim, Matt, and Molly on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
For windows with the strongest resilience, you need the Pella experience. Get 0% interest for up to 5 years if you order by July 31st at PellaWI.com.
Bringing summer gatherings to the next level is just another thing we do at Celebrations Entertainment. Hi, it's Jeffrey. With rental items like sound equipment, photo booths, and even yard games, you can make your event the party that everyone talks about. Any event like graduation parties, block parties, or even a backyard barbecue can be elevated with fun, interactive items to make everyone ask, "Hey, how'd you pull this off?" Just tell them celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Hey, Drew and Jonathan Scott here. Build a customized renter's policy with American Family Insurance so you can protect your tandem bike on the go. Oh, he is struggling with that two-seater. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Some exclusions may apply. Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI and its operating companies. 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Zimbrick Honda has been a proud part of the Madison community since 1973. They're your one-stop shop for over 250 new Hondas to choose from. Whether you're looking for a sedan, SUV, or truck, their selection of new vehicles is second to none. Stop in today at their location on Fish Hatchery Road and lease a 2025 Honda Civic Sport hatchback for as low as $289 per month. Or browse their vehicle selection online at ZimbrickHonda.com. That's ZimbrickHonda.com. Shop local, shop Zimbrick Honda.
Play where the Badgers play and enjoy a round at University Ridge Golf Course, the official course of the University of Wisconsin. It's easy to see why University Ridge is consistently rated one of the best public courses in Wisconsin, winning awards every year since 1992. Whether it's a tournament, corporate event, or just a golf outing with family and friends, University Ridge Golf Course will make sure you have an enjoyable golf experience from start to finish. Book your tee time today at universityridge.com. That's universityridge.com.
ESPN Madison is proud to partner with Mentoring Positives for our third annual ESPN Madison Open. Mentoring Positives is a nonprofit based right here in Madison and is dedicated to uplifting youth and families through mentoring, athletics, and youth entrepreneurship. As a trusted presence in the community, Mentoring Positives has been helping young people build confidence, leadership, and purpose for 20 years. They're changing lives right here in our community. Visit mentoringpositives.org to make your impact today. That's mentoringpositives.org.
This weekend on ESPN Radio.
Diving play, Keith, throw to first, got him.
The Detroit Tigers storm into Philadelphia to face the Phillies.
Sunday on 100.5 ESPN.
All right, we've gone long. We've got to go, but I want to clarify. Head coach of the football team at Kansas, Lance Leipold, a friend. John Anderson, professor in the J School at Missouri, a friend. The coach of the football team and who I root for in the actual football game trumps the professor. If you want to hold that against me, John, I'm willing to wear that. I'm not bothered by it.
Just so you know, Lance Leipold's in my phone, and he's still listed as former UW-Whitewater football coach. But I refuse to write the name in, so that's how he's listed in my phone.
And Jordy Nelson went to Kansas State, so you're really on every side of the rivalry there between all
No,
those
K-State,
teams.
nobody gives a rat's butt about K-State.
Well,
yeah.
we give more than a rat's butt about you, and we appreciate you being today's cousin sub of the day. To wrap up our week of in-person or remotes, great cousin subs of the day. Tomorrow we're going to be all subbed for with Jim, Matt, and Molly taking over our time slot. I will join them from practice over the phone for a couple of segments, though, so they'll be in our time slot tomorrow. Thanks to
and I stand
John
in solidarity with Tausch, and we'll take the day off.
Thank you for your lack of service. Thanks to John Anderson for filling in.
Thanks, man.
Thanks to you for coming along for the ride with us today. Have a great day. Take care. Be good.
Miss any of today's episode of Wilde and Tausch? Presented